Well, no matter what anybody does, there's a complete screw up. They're now saying that even Republicans were saying that Mitt Romney should not have commented about the death of the diplomat in Libya. I don't know where did he die. Libya, right? And then Hillary Clinton was going after. You know what she was doing? But after all we've done for you. It's like your mother or your parents mad at you, you know. And now they're saying it was a coordinated attack. And yeah, well, look, when I said this, when they had the whatever it was, the Muslim Spring or whatever that was bullshit, they're not rioting and all that so they can have like a life like we have. I think that in Farsi, I don't even know that there is the word democracy or. I mean, it's just not even something that they do, and they may loosen things up a little. They might let women drive, or they might educate a woman up to the 6th grade. But this is Stone Age shit, and they're pretty comfortable with it. And then I don't know what Romney said. To be honest, I don't follow it, so I don't know what he said. So then I wanted to see the movie. And this Israeli guy who is in hiding now, that he's an Israeli Egyptian or an Egyptian Jew or something like that. He put out a press release in the Muslim countries. That's what he did. I saw on the internet, Garrett, that only like 178,000 people had even viewed it. So they don't watch the movie, but they heard in the movie that Muhammad is called a bastard. You know, they don't know his father here's what I think, unless I'm wrong about it. I believe that Muhammad is the son of Abraham with his maid. Abraham's wife was too old to bear children. So Abraham was given permission by his wife or decided to bang the maid. See, so, you know, Moses, I don't know who Moses' father was. I have no idea. And then there was Christ, and, of course, God was his dad. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then Muhammad, no, maybe it was King David. Maybe the head of the Jews, King David. I don't know. But Muhammad always, I think, was pulling up, and sucking hind tit because, the Abraham banged his maid, and that's how Moses got made. I mean, that's how Muhammad got made. So,
but isn't Muhammad just Jesus Part 2?
Yeah, I don't know what the years were, but Muhammad was a real guy and lived. I mean, they can't prove that Christ lived. Many people think that the word Christ, means Savior, and that it was many people. There were many prophets that were walking the earth. They were no different than the nuts you see outside of the Super Bowl. When I was going to the Super Bowl last year, 2 years ago, when Green Bay won, we go to that ridiculous stadium that Jerry Jones built in the middle of nowhere, where you can't get a cab, nor is there a hotel or a restaurant or a bar anywhere near that stadium that you'd even want to go to. There were I think I counted 50 different demonstrations for either God or anti-abortion or anti-gay marriage or something. And there were all these, religious kooks, telling you to believe in, the Lord our Savior and the God and all that stuff. And that's what it was like back then. So the Romans would be walking into, feeding Christians to the lions or, doing one of those deals. And they'd have to put up with this nonsense, just like we do when we go into some sporting event. Same thing when I was at the Democratic National Convention. There was all these kooks out there, with pictures of dead babies and hanging the president and speeches and Jesus and all that. It's the same group of weirdo nuts that bug us. See? So that same group, whether it's the Muslim group or actually the Muslims seem to really back him more than anybody else. They kind of like, don't you think, Garrett? They kind of all get together once you say something about Muhammad. Yeah,
I guess so. Yeah,
they get together. Yeah. They all get together.
But is it all of them, or is it like the Tea Party of Muslims? You know, just like an extremist group that is growing.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
It's all of them.
Oh, wow.
You can say whatever you want to say, but every time, you never really see a guy on TV really convince you. It's like, when are you going to raise an army of moderate Muslims and stop all the, kooky Muslims?
Uh-huh.
So raise a moderate. Every time we get army people that are Muslims in any of these countries, they end up killing us or infiltrating, or there's no way that you and I would be in the army and we wouldn't be able to sniff out the nut of the group that wasn't really a patriot.
It would be you, Garrett.
Well, that's
no,
true.
no. But you're not a killer. There are these guys. They join the service. They'll train for 2 years. They'll take the money from the United States. They become a full-fledged soldier or policeman or whatever. And it's like the guys that blew up, the World Trade Centers. Some of them lived here. I think one of them lived here for 5 or 6 years, had a wife and at least one kid, went to Disney World, went to strip clubs, watched television, was friends with people in his neighborhood, and he still wanted to kill Americans. It's something that we don't get. It's odd. I don't even know that, that kind of hatred is that kind of skinhead, racist hatred that we have here on the fringe.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they do it, thousands of people go into the streets. We don't have that here. You don't have thousands of skinheads going in the street after there's
That's true.
some horrible thing. I mean, they can get 25, 30,000 people in Egypt in an afternoon. So let's play this is the trailer of the movie that caused the death of one of our main diplomats and 3 of his aides. And of course, Hillary Clinton is, shame on you and all that. Well, okay, we helped them throw over, Gaddafi and Mubarak, but we've given those guys billions of dollars. I mean, the governor yesterday of Montana, he said he implied that maybe we shouldn't have overthrown, or we should have overthrown Saddam Hussein, but not dismantle the army. Keep it like the same group almost, so that they could keep fighting against Iran. I mean, we're really stupid. We're almost too dumb to be a world leader. We really believe that there's going to be democracy and stop it. First of all, none of these Middle Eastern guys have any interest in their wives opening their traps at all. That's why they put a mask on them and a thing. It's right over their mouths. Their eyes are the only reason why Muslim guys in the Middle East let the women have the eye slits is so they don't trip when they're bringing them their plate of food. That's it. They don't want their bodies shown, that you can't see their arms, you can't see anything, just their eyes. And they're supposed to go get the food, and I guess they lift up that thing, and the guy gives them, the old 1-2, and then maybe a kid or two pops out of there. I'm sure you think the Muslim guys in the Middle East are in the delivery room and all that stuff? Please, stop it. In Saudi Arabia, Christina, women cannot drive a car in Saudi Arabia. That's our biggest ally for 60 years. They can't drive a car. They can't do anything. In Kuwait, where we helped and fought, now you can't do shit in Kuwait. Nothing. If you get caught with a bottle of wine in the back of your car and you're an American and you're driving to a party and you got it at the PX, I know a guy that was in a car wreck. He went to jail for 2 years, an American, and the driver was never seen again. These are really really bad people, really bad. And the governor yesterday, he basically said they were scumbags. He lived with them, scumbags, So let's play the trailer of the movie. First of all, when you see the movie, it's not even green screen when you go on and see it. The people are almost floating in air over the set.
Yeah.
So the set is like laid in under them. It was all made at home. And when you hear this, I want you to realize something. These are actors that auditioned for these parts. The guy's not bad looking. The woman's not that bad looking. And then there's a little kid in it that eats, to set the scene up, Muhammad is eating a giant piece of meat off of a bone, like an animal. And then kind of a muscle guy comes out that has 2 star tattoos over his teats. Then there's a little black kid that's there who keeps calling Muhammad a bastard. They all call Muhammad a bastard. Then all of a sudden, Muhammad goes into this tent, and there's a woman there, and apparently Muhammad thinks he's seen the devil. And she says, "Look between my legs." Muhammad takes his head and puts it in between this woman's legs. So these are the scenes we have for you from this film that has caused death and destruction and, of course, death to Satan America. Go ahead.
We could call him the Father Unknown.
I think you're right, my son.
Muhammad the bastard. Your lady summons you.
My lady? My lady? Oh, don't finish it! Oh. Come on! I'm watching you. Don't finish it. Gluttonous. I know you are gluttonous.
Okay, you bastard, the unknown father.
What did you say?
Okay, the unknown father.
Bilal, take me to my lady.
Come in, Muhammad. I command you. Sit. You are not wearing undergarments. Cover yourself.
Sorry.
His balls are hanging out.
Do you see him? Put your head between my thighs. Do you see this devil still?
Yeah.
Now do you see him?
He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Khadijah, he's gone. How have you done this? And this shall be the first Muslim animal.
What is your name? Jafar.
It's a donkey.
His name is Jafar.
Yes.
Jafar, do you like the women? No. Jafar does not like the women. Jafar.
So that's the movie that caused this riot. Now, they haven't seen the movie.
No?
No, indeed. It's like when Salman Rushdie, who we had on the show years ago.
Salmon.
No, it's Salman.
Oh.
Salmon. You're an idiot. Salmon. He should appear with a big hook in his mouth when he goes places. When Salman Rushdie wrote whatever the thing it was, and the Ayatollah, Khomeini put out the, fatwa against him or whatever it was, they had not read the book. They just knew that that Muhammad's name was printed. You cannot print his name. You cannot draw a picture of him, even if you're not making fun.
But you can name every child born that name.
I think only certain sects can do that. Other sects, they know who they are. Like a Sunni would know the difference between a Shiite by their name. I know that. Mm-hmm. So Muhammad is not, for every one of them. But no, of course they didn't look at it. They don't have to. It's just, it's hearsay. It's like when John Kerry was running and the Swift Boat guys said that he, I don't know what, turned in his own name and wasn't really wounded or some crazy shit. I mean, there was absolutely no proof of any of that. I remember being on the radio going, are you guys nuts? These are guys that just didn't like each other from the war, so they were arguing, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the same thing is going on over there. They go, well, they've taken the name of Muhammad in vain. That's all and they don't need proof. They just need to hear it from a cleric. You know, when those loudspeakers are going off and they're doing all that praying toward Mecca, these clerics have 5 times a day that they can say something on that loudspeaker. Can you imagine every day, 5 times a day, I'm running a loudspeaker in New York City? Well, you know, while you're praying, let me remind you that Sirius XM, you can now get the the table radio model for only $99. Praise be to God. They also have another saying that's interesting. What is it? I believe in God. What is it? God is God. It's kind of a backward saying. It's like that only God is God or something like that. They have that. They talking like, you know, gibberish almost.
Praise be Allah.
No, it's there's only one God, God. That's what it is. It's like a crazy. It's only one God, God. Something like that. Look, they don't look like they have any fun at all. And they're so stupid. This is how dumb they all are. And the Palestinians and all of them. We would give them billions and billions of dollars. The Germans would give them billions of dollars. The Jews would give them billions of dollars to rebuild their countries and start trading with them and get them all computers and telephones and everything. All they've got to do is, like, relax a little bit and stop all the bullshit, and they will not do it. So they'd rather watch their kids starve and throw rocks, you know, over the border or whatever it is, you know, basically saying my comic book character is stronger than your comic book character. It's like fighting over the X-Men. That's how dumb it is. There is not one thing that I have seen since I was conscious that would prove to me that there is anything supernatural. Nothing. Even when some kind of crazy luck thing happens and you can't believe it or whatever in nature. Okay, I don't think but certainly we've never seen anybody walk on water. And if you read the Old Testament about Moses going against the Pharaoh's magic man or whatever, I mean, you got to read this stuff. They actually have like a session in front of the Pharaoh where the Pharaoh's guy, I think he turns, he turns, you know, like a hawk into a sparrow. And then Moses turns a snake into a stick. And they do like 3 or 4 things. They have a contest. And then Moses turns the river red or whatever it is. And now many people are going, well, that was the red tide. I swear to God, just a red tide. And so what's odd is you could have anybody go out there today and stand in front of Barack Obama and a guy from the Middle East, and we don't have a magician that could do the shit that they say they did in the Old Testament. We don't have anybody. What's it? Penn and Teller couldn't even do it. Well, that's the show they ought to do. They ought to debunk all the nonsense. You know, raising people from the dead, but long before Christ came around, that's how they would prove divinity. They would go, well, how do you know he's divine? Well, you know, we couldn't eat, and he had like, you know, a couple of loaves of bread, and he fed like 65 of us with fish. Really? Yeah, 30 were blackened, 20 were grilled. Mine had a little too much salt on it, but you know, that's the way they like to make it in Bethlehem. So. Who's on line 1 there, Christina? You didn't put some names back up there for me.
Line 1 is no longer up.
Line 2 is good.
Rob
line 2.
Texas.
Rob, you're in line 2. Yes, go ahead. Rob of Texas in line 2. Yes.
How you doing?
Good.
Hey, if you do a little research, there's some evidence coming up here about this whole movie, the whole production of it, the distribution, and who actually paid for it. It's real shady. They're having what it's pointing to, you know, what they keep suggesting is that it's an actual radical, you know, Muslim or extremist that actually put this thing together to incite, you know, the type of thing that we're seeing right now, you know, to incite, you know, this this instability.
By the way, when you listen, I'm going to tell you now that I've been making TV shows and movies and everything else, and we made. I have a pilot out there now, and then we have the thing that we did, the what do you call it, the sizzle. And the only thing that cost us any money at all was the travel. So for 15 or 20 grand, you can make almost anything you want to make with almost a telephone camera. But what I'm seeing, if it costs more than $5,000, I would be surprised. The entire movie. They paid the actors maybe, $100 a day, tops, something, maybe nothing. And it took them a week to shoot it. And then they laid in, pictures of tents and all that stuff. So it didn't cost any money. And no one's seen it. There's a few scenes of it on the, no one has seen the so-called 2-hour film. I heard yesterday that they'd run it for 2 hours at a movie theater in L.A., but no one can find out what movie theater it was. So, maybe so. I don't know. Maybe so, but apparently the Libyans have forgotten we gave them a bunch of bombs and shit. I don't know. I have no idea. Look, they just don't like us. You know what? It's like that. Those books, He's Just Not Into You, right? Why don't somebody write a book? The Muslims just aren't into you. That's it. Barack Obama could come out and say he was a fucking Muslim like the Republicans would like him to say, and it wouldn't make a bit of difference either. He'd have to put the family in the goddamn hijabs and all that kind of shit. I mean, my God, it's unbelievable. It's unreal. The only person I think really should be wearing something that covers her except for her eyes is Newt Gingrich's wife. I'd like to see that dumb bitch's eyes just sticking out a little slit,
Jay, speaking of books.
Yeah.
Speaking of books.
What?
You remember all this hoopla brouhaha over the burning of Korans and desecration of Korans and all that stuff?
That's Terry Jones. He's part of this, supposedly, also. Terry Jones.
Right. I was thinking, with all the casualties we've been having in Iraq and Afghanistan with IEDs, shouldn't we just go ahead and make our Humvees and tanks out of Korans?
Absolutely. We ought to drop a bomb that has Koran written right on the side of it, and they ought to have sayings on the side of them. Sure. Look, they are never, ever going to like us, and we're never going to kill all of them because they will outfuck us. I love China. This is my favorite country. There's no religion there. Nothing. And if you are religious, they end that shit pretty quickly. How about the Falun Gong? If you can figure out what they do that's bad, because all they seem to be doing is some sort of really slow yoga class, they kill them immediately. Now, not that I believe you ought to kill people like that, but I'll tell you what, it keeps their fucking asses shut up. And what they do in China is they get right back to work. Right back to work. They worship what's the Chinese money there, Garrett? What do they use? I don't know what they have. What do you have in your pocket in China? What do you flip? Horizontal tiles. What do you have?
I have no idea.
What's the money? I don't know. They're dedicated to money. I mean, they're the most capitalist country, in the world, I think. No religion.
Renminbi? I've never heard
of renminbi? The renminbi? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. All right. Thank you very much, Rob. Bill of Pittsburgh. By the way, there was a terrible picture of the ambassador. I want to say his name is Chris Evans, and a guy that chose this place to go and loved to go to the hot spots in the Middle East. And I couldn't believe they showed the video of it, and then it was on the front page of a couple of newspapers today. I mean, if we knew who to fucking kill, we should send something in there immediately and kill them. But they went in there, and that's supposed to be a sovereign country, an embassy. And the Iranians did it before. In 1979, when they took the hostages, I really wish, Jimmy Carter didn't want to send bombs in there for fear they would kill all the hostages. They had a bunch of them, right? But, yeah, I feel the same way about the pirates in Somalia and all that. Just like in the old pirate movies. Remember the ship would come up and give the pirate village a broadside, Garrett? Remember that? blow them all up. Yeah. Why we don't do that, I was told by some Army guys, we're not allowed to attack the pirates. There's all this international treaty crap about at sea. Man, oh man. I love that Barack Obama kills people. I fucking love it. They ought to be putting drones over those sons of bitches. By the way, if you take a boat, a pleasure boat, and you go anywhere near Kenya or Somalia and they capture you, all bets are off as far as I'm concerned. Bill, go ahead. Bill of Pittsburgh.
Hey, Jay, I agree with what you just said about everything there, but have you ever heard the phrase, the only way to beat someone crazy is to be crazier than they are?
Yep, sure.
I kind of thought that ever since September 11th, and with this, the embassy, now the assassination, I think you're right. I think there's no way we're ever going to win. And I don't know what's happened to the country that we're all, turned into a bunch of wussies where we can't.
No, they're scared of the oil. No, they're scared of the oil. That's it. There is absolutely nothing. And, the governor said it yesterday. He said he lived in Saudi Arabia. He thought they were an asshole ally. If we pull everybody out and stop all of it, then we can't control the oil, and we cannot. We're afraid that China's going to go in there. We're afraid the Russians are going to make deals with them. So, and we'll be paying $8 and $10 a gallon for gasoline, and that's the bottom line. That's it. There's no other reason for it. There's nothing there. They have oil. Period. End of conversation. And we like to have areas where we can fly over and get our troops and stuff. China doesn't move. China doesn't have any troops anywhere. They don't have any troops anyplace. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's just, we've got to, and the first president that says he's going to stop that is going to be called a big pussy. He's going to be called a coward. That's right. He'll be called a big coward and a big pussy. And once we freed up, can you imagine freeing up the defense budget? It would be unbelievable. It would be fantastic. Yeah. And my thing is, you get all the murderers, I've told you this before, you get all the murderers out of the jail, and you give them training and machine guns and bombs and everything else, and you parachute their asses into all of these hot spots, and if they can take it over, we'll deal with them at a later date. Because we know all they're going to want is those, gold teeth, Garrett, and that bling. That's all they want. Right. And you send down women from prisons with big, giant booties. Yeah. And as they're coming down to the parachutes, Garrett, they're doing that thing that Kim Kardashian was, like what Ray J did to Kim Kardashian's ass. They just shake their ass going down. Oh, man, those gang members would be going crazy. Crazy. I might even join up. Would you join up if you knew if you won, Garrett, you got to keep the country?
I did personally, or the U.S.
Well, you would win, and you would. What would you like? Well, I'd like just a small radio station's all I want.
Yeah, if I would get like a chunk of land in that country, that'd be pretty cool.
You'd fight for it, right? Yeah. I think the Romans did it. I'm sure the Romans did it. I'm sure that the Egyptians did it. They would give land to people that fought for them. And basically we did it too. We went, from east to west and took shit and homesteaded and all. I mean, when he said, Montana was homesteaded, really? Gee, what about the Indians that lived there, the Native Americans, In Canada, same thing. That was all, Indian territory. And they took it from somebody, right? Foxes and bunnies, but they took it from somebody. You Indians, you killed all the foxes and the bunnies. We're going to make you pay. Will, you're in New York. Yes, Will, it's Jay Thomas. Yes, sir, go ahead.
I picked a day where you had two good callers right before me. I wanted to know how you pay for some piece of shit movie like that.
That's easy. On your credit card. You could make a movie tomorrow. Listen, with all the cameras now, there used to be let's say I wanted to make a low budget movie 10 years ago. It would cost me $20,000 to rent the camera, the 35 millimeter camera or whatever it was, and you could do it on video, but it just didn't have the look you wanted. You can now you can rent it, or you can buy about a $5,000 camera, You can rent it, and it will shoot HD, and they even have a camera that kind of grains it a little bit so it looks like it's film. So let's say you rent that for, a few $1,000. You're going to shoot. Movies used to be months and months and months. I haven't shot a movie that lasted even the bigger budget ones, they shoot them in 6 weeks, no problem. If they're going to do bomb sequences and they're going to spend a bunch of money doing that and they can't CGI it, look, I did a little pilot about a talk show host, and we had a scene where this guy was landing on a beach, and we put bombs and stuff blowing up all around him that the editor just got off the internet, and it looked like my son played the guy coming onto the beach. It looked like he was going right through bombs and stuff. I couldn't believe it. I was stunned. I said, how much is that going to cost us? He says, $50. So you can make them for cheap. I mean, when you look at a movie like The Beasts of Southern Wild, they spent $1,300,000. That's because they shot in the water. And so that makes things expensive. But if somebody gave you could make any TV pilot for $25,000. I mean, a really good one if you had a good script. Yeah, you could. And if you shoot in one location, no problem. You just shoot in one house. In fact, sometimes they will actually say, well, what do you have that's in one location? And then a bunch of writers will send in their ideas. A buddy of mine wrote a show called Courthouse, and it was all shot in this one courthouse, and they just went from room to room to room, and you like Special Victims Unit, they don't use that many sets when you think about it, right? They're in the bullpen,
right.
Then they go catch the guy, and then maybe they're in the. Now they spend a ton of money, but that's because they want to, but they don't have to. So I mean, what do you think? What do you think TMZ spends on their production?
Fucking
nothing. Nothing. Yeah. So if you got a good script, you can make anything you want if you got a kind of an interesting thing. Yeah. I mean, the guys from Jackass, I mean, they're really the ones that started it. Don't you think, Garrett? They were using crappy equipment in the beginning, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Or Tom Green. Same
Tom
thing.
Green. Yeah. Now, for a drama or something like that, yeah, if you go to Sundance, not to the big movies, but the movies that their students make, they're really good. I mean, they'll make them 30-minute movies and stuff like that. Yeah, people that say, oh, you got to go to Hollywood. No, New Orleans there'll be over 100 movies shot in Louisiana in the next 18 months. In Los Angeles, in California, only 30 movies and TV shows will be shot in the whole state of California. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? I'm talking about like film, like things on film, yeah. All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, buddy. Let's go to Ahmed. It's always upsetting, I know, for when Muslims call, but you've got to gather an army of moderates and take them over there and show us that you're serious about stopping this fanaticism, Ahmed.
Great Satan, pig, Jew, J. Thomas.
I only play a Jew on TV. I'm not one in real life.
Even worse. You listen to me, you hear me now.
Yeah.
We don't teach our women up to 6th grade. We only teach them how to make fire and the poo-poo in the right place.
Now, why is it you don't want to see their bodies and you can only see their eyes? You mean you couldn't control yourself if you saw?
Listen, we do not have sex with them. We dig our children out of the ground. And we take them and we dig them out of holes. We don't even know who those people are under those.
You mean the children are actually grown out of soil? You're saying?
Yes, that's correct. That is where they come from. And the reason why we wear the mask when we gather?
Yeah.
So you don't know which one of us is Barack Obama.
You're hiding the president. All right.
Did you know that I heard this now? You tell me if it's true that the person who's going to be playing Abraham in the Doom movie
is
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No. You know, it's funny. I'm looking up here how the Muslims talk to their kids. They don't do the birds and the bees, Garrett. They do worms and beetles.
Wow. How did you know?
I don't know. All right, Ahmed. Thank you very much, Ahmed. There he is. That's Ahmed, the moderate Muslim. Lou of New Jersey. Yes, Lou, it's Jay Thomas. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, Jay. So who's the most difficult actor or actress you've ever worked with?
Well, you know,
Rhea Perlman, you want to say?
No, not Rhea. Rhea was quiet. She didn't like me. But by the way, GQ has just written this huge article about Cheers. And when the guy calls me up, listen to this one. He says, you know, everybody's telling me that, you know, you were fired and all. And he says, that's the biggest story I've been hearing. I said, you mean the other players are telling you this? And now, of course, I didn't check with anyone. So I said, yeah, you know, and I told the whole story. He just sent me an email saying, oh, sorry, Jay, but your story didn't make it into the article. But it's going to be online. I guess that's just as good, right? Yeah. Well, they only could do 5,000 words in the magazine, but online it'll be 11,000, and we'll have him on. No, it wasn't real. It's
story.
You know what? I always forget these people. I did a play for Woody Allen. He wrote it and directed it. And what's her name that played Lilith on Cheers? What's her name?
Bebe Neuwirth.
Bebe Neuwirth. She is the meanest bitch I've ever met in my life. I was nice to her. She was down to one friend, and it was me. And 2 weeks left in the production, she turned on me. She's completely batshit nuts and a complete bitch. And she was, and I see that she's starring in a TV show and everything else. And you know, she's just was meaner and shit to me personally. She was mean. And
she's annoying to watch, too.
Well, you know what? You know, she's had a great career, and I don't know why she's so damn mad, but she went out of her way to be rude. Sybil Shepherd, I heard, went out of her way to be rude to people, but she wasn't rude to me. But when I did an episode of her TV show, she was supposed to hit me in the head with a bedpan off screen. And when I came back out laying on a gurney, I was, you know, acting like I was knocked out. Believe it or not, Chuck Lorre, he's had every crazy star. He had Roseanne, he had Sybil, he had Charlie Sheen. Chuck Lorre, that's the only shows he does, right? He had Brett Butler, I think, also. He thought that Sybil Shepherd had really hit me in the head and that I was unconscious. I said, are you guys nuts? They said, oh, man, we thought you might really be out cold. I said, why? He says, because, you know, she's nuts. But she wasn't nuts to me. So I don't know. I do know a guy, though, that was talking to her one time, and everything was going fine. She put her head down, and when she pulled her head back up, she looked at him and said, what are you doing here? And she fired him. Yeah, like her personality changed or something.
Yeah.
But you know what? Normally, everybody's pretty nice. You know, it's almost like going to your regular job. You go and, you know, I did a movie with Kevin Costner years ago where his wife... Dragonfly. Yeah, Dragonfly. It was very nice. We threw the ball. We hung out, you know. He showed us stuff in the trailer. He was a nice guy. He kind of lives in the neighborhood. You know, everybody's pretty cool. It's just like, and no one can help you. That's the funny part. Everyone thinks when they meet an actor, especially other actors, that actor is going to go back and say, hey, I met somebody kind of interesting, and I think you ought to take a look at him. I've never, ever met anyone who was hired because they met an actor at a party or at a event or whatever. But that's what you're thinking when you meet the actor. You're thinking, well, if I meet Dustin Hoffman and if I'm funny, he'll think I'm funny. I emceed something at NYU once, and he was in the audience. And I remember thinking, oh, man, I was really good tonight. And I came down, and he said, how you doing? You were great. And all. He didn't call anybody up and say, hey, then that's not how they think. You know, it's just...
Surprises me.
And, you know, also usually when they meet the cast, they're meeting who was cast for the first time, except the top 3 or 4 people. Like they go, oh, by the way, Jay Thomas is going to play the evil attorney. And of course, this is Nick Nolte's greeting to me. That's what he did. I said, man, it's a pleasure to meet you. Like that.
Very nice.
That's what he growled. I know. He growled.
Do you have any new projects you're working on?
No, hell no. Fuck.
Nothing right
my
now?
career's in the shitter. My newest film is called The Shitter. I'm going to make a movie called The Shitter. And the beginning of the movie is me, my head, coming out of a fucking toilet.
Oh, you're the best thing on Sirius, Jay. Absolutely.
Hey, now, wait a minute. That's a great idea, Gary. The Shitter. No.
Shitter.
In the Shitter. That's the name of the movie. In the Shitter. And it opens up like Train Spotting, except I'm coming up out of the toilet. So,
who plays
all right. BB Newirth. I'll have her do it. All right. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Let's go to Jamel from the United States of America. Yes, Jamel. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, Jay Thomas.
You see, you're fake. You're phony. We had Ahmed on a few moments ago. That was real. You're fake.
You are.
How do we say it in Farsi? Can you call Funky Cole Medina and find out how she said it in Farsi? We need to get that on audio, Garrett. Get rid of this guy, please. Please get rid of him. Please. I can't take it. Let's go to Dan, who is in Kansas City. Yes. Now, is it Kansas City, Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri? That's actually the same city separated by what, a river? Is that it?
Yeah. Well, it's partially by the Missouri River, but there's some boundary lines. Yeah, I live in Kansas City, Kansas.
Now, is it better in Kansas City, Kansas than in Kansas City, Missouri?
There's a lot more to do in Kansas City, Missouri, but Kansas City, Kansas has Johnson County, has a lot of money in it.
It does. And they have two different mayors and two different administrations.
Yep, they do. Totally.
That's pretty crazy. So when someone says, oh, I'm the mayor of Kansas City, I always think Kansas, but there's a Kansas City, Missouri, right?
Kansas City, Missouri is much bigger. Yeah.
Really?
That's
I would not have. Isn't that funny? I would have thought just the opposite.
For real?
Yeah, and that's where the sports teams, the Royals and the Chiefs play in Kansas City, Missouri.
I did not realize that either. I know that people in Missouri love the Chiefs, but I know that people in Kansas also love the Chiefs. Well, you know what, Dan, you have taught me something. This is my favorite kind of phone call, when I actually learn something that I can use against others at a later date, Garrett.
Did you know the sun rises in the east and sets in the west too? I mean, Kansas City, Missouri. That's like first grade material.
No, I knew there were two Kansas Cities. I just didn't know the size of them. I didn't know what people felt about them. And so for some reason, you feel as though because of your lack of passion for 9/11, which, by the way, we received some pretty sad emails in your direction. I don't even know how to handle these. They're pretty bad. And so suddenly today, in your haughtiness and in your lack of passion and compassion for those on 9/11, I find it unusual that you would have this kind of attitude after the hatred people felt for you yesterday. I agree. Let's go back to Dan. Dan, go ahead.
What I was going to say is, remember when the big flap about Salman Rushdie and the book he wrote was Satanic Verses?
Yes.
It was like really thick, and it probably wouldn't have sold a dozen copies if it hadn't have been for the controversy, and the Iranians were going to kill him. Well, I heard somebody back then say, he's working on a new book, and it's called Buddha, You Fat Fuck.
Yeah, well, guess what? If you put Muhammad's name on anything, you are fucked. Now, I had him on, and the only reason, and by the way, he's kind of an interesting guy. He gets laid all the time by gorgeous women. He is a womanizer, and he's the ugly as hell, and has a body that looks like the bottle that Genie came out of in that TV show. But what I remember reading, and I asked him about it, he and his wife were getting a divorce. And in the middle of it, the Ayatollah, says, I'm going to kill you. He and his wife had to stay in the house for 2 years together. And he said that at one point, he was so miserable, he wanted to just run out the front door and let him gun him down. That's what he said. Yeah.
It was a big deal back then, but it all blew away.
Well, no, it didn't blow away. The Ayatollah died, and that thing that thing is still kind of available. And then other shit happened. By the way, a lot of these people, they never read the book, and the book was never on the newsstands. It was never. You didn't go to like the airport in Tehran and there was the book. So out of sight, out of mind. Yeah. They never read the book ever. They didn't. They just somebody said that Muhammad's name is used in the book, and you can't do that. You cannot draw a picture. Even if you show Muhammad walking a little girl across the street, you cannot do that. That's against the rules. Yeah. Now that's a frightened group of individuals right there. All right. Thank you very much. Let's go to Walker of Tennessee, where the Tennessee Walker comes from. Are you named for the horse?
No.
Walker? No.
No.
Yeah, Tennessee Walker kind of walks like if horses were gay. It has that prancy kind of it's like a poodle. It's the poodle of horses. And the way they get him to do it is I think they have to do something to their hooves. Christina, I believe they have to torture them a little bit to make their hoof bend like that. After Kevin Meaney came out of the closet, he had to wear like a lot of Band-Aids for a long time so that his wrist would bend and people would know he was gay. Well, there's a lot of things you don't know privately that I know. Walker, go ahead, please.
Hey, salami, baloney. I think we should all just go ahead and convert to Islam, Jay. I mean, yeah, you got to pray 5 times a day, but...
All right, Medina, let's get Medina on. Medina, in Farsi, how do you say get rid of him in Farsi? Go ahead, Medina.
Uh-oh.
Medina. What happened to her?
I asked the guy, why are you so fly? He said funky.
Where is she? What happened to her?
She panicked, I guess.
She panicked?
I think she's working. I'm not sure.
Okay, great. So she could have said la ba ba whatever the hell it is.
Does she not work here?
Yeah, no, she works
Thank
here.
you.
I think she's in studio.
Thank you. Welcome to the Jay Thomas Show, as we like to call it, bit enders. All right. We'll be right back. There we are.
Little Medina here, your glass. And the girls will come real quick.
We've had him on before. Stephen Hirsch will be here. We had him on talking about the porno stars. He's the guy that owns Vivid that we're all big fans of. The rubbers. He didn't want the porno stars wearing rubbers. And then about a month later, wasn't there another little outbreak of syphilis or something like that?
Yeah.
He's the co-founder, co-chairman of the leading adult movie studio, Vivid Entertainment. He's been blasted by Patrick A. Truman, Truman. Come on, that can't be a real guy's name, can it? It'd be like Nick Holy, for the inflammatory and ridiculous assertions about the impact of pornography on society. Now, what did the guy say? That pornography,
anyone that watches porno will have a fucked up marriage and not love their wife because they'll be addicted to porno, and once you start watching, you can't stop watching more and more degrading porn.
Now, if that guy had said that and I was Steven, I'd go, well, how do you know? Ooh. Well, yeah, you sound like you got some inside info here, my friend. Yeah, right, when he did that. Like that. As soon as they take that breath, you got him. Then the Catholic Church has stated pornography offends against chastity because it perverts the conjugal act, the intimate giving of spouses to each other. It does grave injury to the dignity of the participants, the actors, the vendors, the public, since each one becomes an object of base pleasure and illicit profit for others. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
The penalty of those who live too close to the flesh is to never understand the spiritual. Well, I will tell you that I do think that if young guys watch porno, and I've made the mistake also, I've only met in my life, and people always go, how many people have you slept with? I don't know, fucking thousands, I guess. I have no idea. But I've only met maybe 1 or 2 women that I was interested in that wanted you to do anything that I'd ever seen in a porno. You know, the slapping of the penis on your face and the taking your being go, you know, like I don't know, doing that kind of suck pop thing with your penis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just don't. It's just nothing that when you're making out with someone and you start liking them and you start having sex, it's like I just don't remember them doing stuff. And also the hardness of the kind of not brutal exactly, but the length, the amount of hard sex that they want in the videos doesn't seem to be true in real life. Would you agree with that, Christina, to some extent?
Sure. Yeah, I'll agree with that to some extent.
I mean, a little bit every now and again, but it's humiliating in the pornos all the time. It's like their hands are tied, they're crawling on the floor. You know what I mean? It's gagging.
Right.
It's
just a lot. It's very sloppy. A lot of saliva going.
And they
around.
won't stop with like maybe one time you do a quick gag.
What's with
and
the
then,
spitting? Do you like that when
I have
girls
never
spit on your dick?
I have. When you say
and
stuff
then she
like
gets
that,
angry and she spits on it again. Do you like that in real life?
No, I've never had that done to me
Very
in my
aggressive.
life. But you know what, Garrett? My eyes are watering right now. It's weird. It's like, you mean there's not enough saliva just from your mouth, or I don't know.
Maybe there's just too much, with the pre-cum and all that stuff.
I hate when they go like that. I know a lot of you don't look at what the best sellers are. Let me go around the horn. What do you think the book, the best-selling, the number one top-selling book in the United States? It is one of the most controversial things that's happened, and no one thought this book would have any readers at all. So just tell me who the book is about, Garrett. Do you know?
It's about someone?
It's about someone, and people say, no one's going to be interested in that. Who gives a shit? Who cares? And the person was a part of a controversy.
Honey Boo Boo?
Honey Boo Boo.
No.
You mean L.A. Times, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, that'd be the number one book.
Yeah.
No. Christina, what do you think?
Okay, thank you.
She's on the...
Oh, she's on the phone? Oh, is she on there ready to go right now?
No, I have to call him.
Yeah.
At a different number. Well, I'm sorry.
The number one book in the United States, bestseller list, tops every bestseller list. It's about someone no one thought anybody would care about. And this person was a part of a scandal. But everyone said, no one will read that book. Who's it about?
Part of a scandal?
Mm-hmm. No one would give
Kris Kardashian?
Kris Kardashian.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a pretty good guess. No, it's Joe Paterno. That is the number one book. Now, here's what's odd.
How does it come out so quickly?
Well, it was coming out anyway.
Oh.
It was already coming out, okay? Because he was unceremoniously, he wouldn't quit, right? They couldn't get him to quit. And then when the scandal came out, he quit or got fired or whatever they want to say. But I think the book was already being printed, or it was finished. And so what's odd is that who would want to read about him? Maybe people in Pennsylvania would want to read about him, but you don't get on the number one bestseller list all over the United States if it's just, in that area.
But don't you just have to sell like 10,000 books and then you're number one? I don't
know what the number is, but really, is that all it is?
I don't think it's that much. Yeah.
You know what number two is? The Amateur, a book about how Barack Obama is a callow, arrogant, and unable leader. That's number two.
Number three is Bitch, Are You Retarded?
Yes.
Stop being a dumbass. Either he loves you, he's in love with you, or just something to do for right now. Either way, learn the difference and when to walk away.
He's one of our listeners. That's Carlos Lee. We'll be having the great Carlos Lee, who wrote, please give me the title again. It's a long title, Garrett, but take a deep breath and pretend you're spitting on a penis when you do it.
Bitch, are you retarded? Stop being a dumbass. Either he loves you, he's in love with you, or you're just something to do for right now. Either way, learn the difference and when to walk away.
What a genius.
Number four is a book called Wild by Cheryl Strayed. It's a book about a life-changing 1,100-mile hike she took.
What?
On the Pacific Coast. Are you kidding?
Ew.
You know what? Eat, pray, suck my dick ought to be. I tried to read that piece of shit. My wife was like rolling her eyes going, this is a book about a loser, written by a loser. Eat, pray, love, you know. Yeah. Then, of course, number 5 is Obama's America. Dinesh D'Souza says that Barack Obama is the architect of America's decline. These are big. Here's one, number 6. Bonhoeffer. Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Ever heard of him?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
He was a German theologian who was hanged because he wanted him to kill Hitler. That's it. But it's just pretty crazy. Oh, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks is number 7 on this list. She's an African-American woman whose cancerous cells were cultured without her permission in 1951.
Oh.
I don't know where they got them from, but apparently it was uncomfortable.
Probably a pap smear.
A pap smear, thank you. Hey, Stephen Hirsch, go to Vivid.com. Stephen was with us a few months back talking about whether they should be wearing condoms or not in the pornos and stuff. How are you, Stephen? How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me back on.
Well, thanks for coming back. You're a brave man. The new controversy we'll talk about in just a minute. What does a political season do for the adult industry?
Well, I think things ramp up. That's for sure. It's
at every level they ramp up.
It's a hot button issue, not so much anymore because people are more comfortable with, adult films than ever before. But certainly the conservative groups, come out of the woodwork and they, try and get things inserted into the GOP platform saying that they're going to go after every sort of porn available and on and on and on. And so, some things never change and here we are again.
So what are the moral majority is saying that this guy, Patrick Truman, inflammatory, you say they're inflammatory and ridiculous, that the impact of pornography on society has been such that it's really dragging us down. Now, how popular, forget paid pornography, I'm sure that's cut into your profit margin. What do you think on a daily basis, just in the United States, how many people do you think something pornographic?
Tens of millions of people access adult sites every day, and they can continue to come back, whether they're subscribers or they go to free sites. It's all over, and it's not only explicit adult films. It's all things sexual, and we see that on TV, and we see that in movies, and we see that in advertisements. So every day we're inundated with some sort of sexual imagery.
Right. Now, what's weird is when you tell someone they can't do something or it's bad, it makes them want to do it even more. What would happen? I wonder. Ron Paul, if he, as a libertarian, he would let everything just happen. So I think the TV stations would still not show anything up to 10 o'clock. But after 10 o'clock, I bet a lot of regular channels, if they thought their advertisers wouldn't leave, I think they'd show some sexy stuff, don't you? They might even show a tits or a penis or something.
Well, you see it in Europe. They do it in France and on some channels in Germany as well. So it's done, but like you said, the problem is the advertisers, and they just won't advertise, and the networks stay away from it. As we see, slowly but surely, they're creeping forward. If you look at Showtime or HBO, what you see now is different than what you saw even a few years ago. So I think it's moving forward, but in terms of explicit insertion, I just don't think we're going to see that anytime soon.
Well, I also think, and we were saying this earlier, if young kids watch porno and they see a woman taking 3 penises in her and slapping her penis against the face and spitting on it and all, you don't normally see that in your everyday sexual activity. So one of the complaints is take the moral majority out of it. It might teach kids, or especially boys, that women want to be, fucked harder and treated rougher than the average, woman would like to be treated.
Well, the majority of movies out there just don't show that stuff. There are some, but the bottom line is that there's no reports, there's no studies that have been done that show that it has any sort of impact. And when you talk about young men, I don't know if you're talking about kids.
Yeah, like guys, let's be honest. I'm sure my kids watched it on the internet when they were, hitting puberty, and we would keep our eye on it and put all those filters and all that other shit on it. But let's say when they're 17 or 18 and they can legally look at it, if they've never gotten laid before, is that what they think it's going to be like? Like women will want to put it in every orifice and suck them and pull.
Well, they should try that. Well, if they try that.
Yeah, well, that's true. It won't work. Yeah, it won't. Christina, has anybody ever tried anything? Christina, has anybody ever tried anything with you, like early in a relationship, and you said, "Whoa, where'd you learn that? In a porno? Did you do that?"
Yeah.
Ever?
Yeah. Well, you remember I told you about my friend who gave a blowjob for the first time ever, and she did it straight out of the porno.
You mean she
with knocking the dick in her face and but it was her first time ever. That never happens, but it was.
So she had learned from a porno on how she thought she should give a blowjob.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's fine. The question is, she feels.
Yeah, Stephen. You know what, Stephen? I agree. That is fine. Yeah. So you know what? If you are a girl and you see that and you've never seen it before, then you would think that guys like it. But you are right. They usually have a little scenario, and the woman is home, and the guy comes over. I mean, for all of us that watch it, we don't need a big story, but we kind of like. Garrett, don't you like the silly kind of setups in a porno sometimes?
Oh, I love it.
I do too.
I miss it in the. I guess they still do sort of situations, but now they're so unbelievable. Like you pick a girl up in a van and tell her to get naked, and she starts sucking everyone off or something.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they kick her out.
Stephen Hirsch, go to Vivid.com. When you go places and people say, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, whatever, when you say you own Vivid, at the PTA or, something you go, with the, at the synagogue or whatever, do you ever get embarrassed sometimes that people are stunned by what you do for a living and have become very wealthy and successful doing, I might add?
No, I really haven't experienced that at all. I run this as a business, and we've been doing it for close to 30 years. So when I talk to people, most of them are aware of who Vivid is and, or what we've accomplished out there. And I think that people look at it as, just like any other business. Certainly it's, it's all about sex, but ultimately we're just running a business and trying to make money.
The morality in media said, fidelity cannot be maintained if someone consumes pornography. The wives of porn consumers feel as though that their husbands are committing adultery. Affairs of the mind are every bit as destructive as affairs of the heart and the flesh. That was the statement that you really got upset by, right?
I don't know. I got upset by many of his statements. It's just because none of it is true. I mean, here is a guy who is looking to become the policeman of the adult industry. He's been around forever. He's gone after adult companies for years and years and years. That's just who he is. That's his job. And I mean, the interesting thing is that if he were somehow to eradicate all explicit films, he'd have no job. So he
does it make you want to send a couple of wait a few months and find out where he's staying and pick a woman that can really talk the Bible and everything else? And does it make you when you're just sitting around daydreaming, you'd love to send, and you have somebody in mind, she looks really cool and normal, and she could pull it off, and she ends up having an affair with him, and you could expose him? Make you want to do
really.
that?
No, not really. I mean, look, I think that everybody has a right to believe in whatever they want. It's when they start trying to affect what other people can watch that I have a problem. Look, if he believes that adult films are bad and whatever, they degrade women, that's his thing, and that's fine, and he certainly just shouldn't watch any adult movies. But that doesn't give him the right to go and tell other people what they can or can't watch in the privacy of their own home. And that's what's so upsetting, is that this guy thinks that he knows better than you. He wants to be the morality police, the chief of the morality police, and it just doesn't work. And we're in 2012, and this is the era of the Internet, and adult content is all over the place, and our society is doing just fine.
Viewing porn will change a user's attitude towards sex, he says, his or her spouse and society. They'll use sexual fantasies to get aroused. And then, after watching the pornographic scenes, they are more likely to engage in sexual harassment and aggression at work. Now,
I mean, look.
That's crazy. You know what? That is a little crazy. But what it does for me, after I watch a porno, if I'm in my car alone or I'm by myself at the gym, I'll say under my breath, "Oh man, I'd like to just get, it'll make me fantasize a little bit, but I probably would have fantasized anyway.
Yeah, imagine if you had no porn to get your release out.
I would be a rapist.
Who knows?
Be a killer. Might do anything.
That is what people have said. But the point is that he has nothing to back up those claims. He's just decided that that's the case. He just sat down and decided that that's the case. Well, that's not necessarily the case. And like I said, millions and millions of people watch adult movies. I don't see all these people that are practicing deviant sexual behavior. It's just not the case. He does it to get headlines and, to get his name out there. And here we are in election season, and somehow he got it into the GOP platform, although we know that doesn't really matter. And I think what
was the plank of the platform? What was the plank of the platform?
They were going to go after all forms of adult entertainment, whereas the Obama administration has focused on child pornography. And what they're saying is that they should focus on all sorts of pornography, whether it's child pornography or just regular mainstream adult films that you watch on the Internet or watch on TV. But, ultimately that really doesn't work either, because people don't want their hard-earned tax dollars spent on going after pornographers. It's about time we focus on putting people back to work as opposed to throwing those awful pornographers in jail. It just doesn't work.
Now, you're certainly pulling for Barack Obama. Do you, when you give in your donation or to the PAC, do they ever use that against the Democrats when they go, "Oh, look who's backing them"? The Vivid,
they have.
The Vivid
Actually,
guy.
They did that with Larry Flint years ago, when Larry Flint gave money to the Democrats. So I think they would do that. And I'm not totally against Republicans. I mean, that's certainly not the case. They happen to be our best customers, and that's been proven.
Is that really
out.
true? Now, look, you were saying he was saying stuff that may not be true. Do you really believe that conservatives are more uptight than liberals?
No, I don't. I don't. I mean, there are some that are more uptight than liberals, but the truth is, and there was a survey done by a Harvard professor that the top 8 of the top 10 states that view pornography voted Republican in the last presidential election. So, you know what? Republicans love watching adult films just as much as Democrats, and they're okay too.
Well, there is a psychological study that just came out a few months ago. We all quoted it, that the most homophobic people, the people that usually are against, any kind of homosexual. Exactly. They are actually gay or certainly are, latent homosexuals. And then another interesting, this is from the Scientific American's magazine called Mind, which is a terrific magazine. They just did a study that people that are conservative tested more frightened of lots of things, the economy, stuff that would happen to them or whatever, and people that were liberal were a little more, were less frightened of things. I think if you're really frightened of pornography or frightened of homosexuality, you're really frightened of what would happen if you stepped in the circle, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think some conservatives are just more uptight than liberals. Yeah. And if you're uptight, then, certain things are going to concern you more, whereas liberals have a completely different attitude. And, yeah, I mean...
Well, you know what it's like, Christina? It's like virginity. I mean, before you get laid, especially for women, oh, my God, you don't want to... And then after you have sex, isn't there that kind of like, that's what the big fuss was about?
Yes.
Right. I mean, I've heard that a number of times from women. Yeah, once the act is done, then it goes, this isn't about me just finding one guy to do this with. This is like figuring it out.
You know how long it takes us to orgasm? I mean, chances are when you first have sex, you're having sex with somebody that's not that experienced. If you're like teenaged and stuff. So you know how long it takes for somebody to orgasm? Because you're like, this doesn't feel like when I do it.
Well, you know what's funny? I was so dumb, Stephen, when I started. As I was pulling my penis, just pulling my zipper down, I started yelling, "I'm coming, I'm coming." I didn't know when to yell it. I missed. I yelled it when I did the zipper. I yelled it when I took my pants. I just kept yelling, "I'm coming, I'm coming."
Well, you just I didn't know. Trying.
I didn't know when you were supposed to yell it. I didn't know when the verbiage was supposed to come. Stephen, always good to talk to you. Stephen Hirsch. Go to Vivid.com, and we've talked about it before, but with all the free stuff and everything else, do you think one day we'll almost see the end of studio-produced pornography?
No, I don't. I think that what you will see...
I mean, not now, but in your life, later, like when you don't give a shit anymore. Do you think you look at the end of... Oh, you don't? Okay, why not?
I don't, because I think that what you'll see is free sites, and they'll be advertiser-supported, and you'll take that traffic and you'll move it around to either live girls or dating sites, and I think you may see more and more free sites, but they'll be advertiser-supported, and the free sites that get the traffic will be the ones that produce the best content. So, no, I don't think so. I think the industry just continues to evolve, as does every other industry, the music industry, the Hollywood film industry, and TV, and et cetera. So I think that, eventually it all does get figured out, and quality content rules the day.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised that with the popularity of Facebook and the way that the porn industry is able to take great titles and stuff, that you haven't had Puss Book or Dick Book. Will you get sued by Facebook if you just put whatever it is, ass book? I mean, it just seems like it's built in and made.
I mean, the question is will there be confusion in the marketplace? That's really ultimately the question. So no, I don't think you would get sued. I mean, we do parodies of Hollywood movies all the time, and
but you could use Dick Book or Puss Book and make it some sort of X-rated or pornographic site where you can like and dislike. Maybe you wouldn't like and dislike, but you would do, gross and not gross or whatever it is. I'm just surprised no one's ever used it. We joke about ass book all the time or whatever. But
I think you could do it. There are certain trademarks and copyrights that they have, so you would have to be careful. I mean, when you talk about likes and dislikes and stuff
couldn't
like
do
that,
couldn't do that.
I'm not sure that you'd be able to do that.
You couldn't use a thumb anyway. You'd have to use something else.
That's right.
Yeah. Stephen Hirsch, Vivid.com. You know what? Would you invite me to your Christmas party this year, please?
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you out here? Are you in L.A.?
Yeah, I live in Santa Barbara, but
Okay.
I'd like to come to your. I bet that's fun, your Christmas party.
Well, it depends on the year.
The office party, not the one at your house with the family and with all the candles and the Jewish signs and the Christmas tree.
That one's not so fun.
No, I don't want to go to that one. And I want to go alone, and I want to be called Babu the entire time I'm at your party. But, all right.
You got a deal.
Good, thank you. Stephen Hirsch of Vivid, and go to Vivid.com, and thanks for all the many, many, many millions and billions of gallons of sperm you've provided into the atmosphere.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. And I'm sure female jizz. Thank you so much. We'll be right back. Clint Eastwood has kind of some sort of baseball movie out there, but he's already started working on The Good, the Bad, and the Chair. There it is, right there. Somebody sent me that, and I stole it right off the screen. My name is Blessing. Yes, good. Jay, you spoke a couple of weeks ago about food being eaten at the 9/11 Tribute Memorial. I will tell you something odd. I was just in New York, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago or something, and I always look downtown, and you could see the World Trade Centers, all the way to our building, right? I mean, before the horrifying, terrorist attack. I don't remember being able to see the replacement building. Is it one or two, or what is it? It's kind of odd that I...
You mean the Freedom Tower?
How tall is it? Is it 100 stories? What is it?
Yeah, it's taller than
the original?
Yeah, I think.
But you can't see it. It's only one, though. It's not two. Because I'll have to... in the next... When you're walking in the street, Christina, on 6th Avenue or on Broadway, I used to be able to look downtown and you could see the edge of the World Trade Centers. Kind of?
Yeah, I mean, you could see it.
I was in college at the time. I don't remember.
Well, maybe
No, when you were a girl, when you were a kid, you could see the World Trade Centers.
I lived in Brooklyn. I wasn't paying attention to any of that.
Really?
Kind of stuff. Yeah.
Brooklyn,
well, anyway,
was right across the river.
Well, I saw it there, but I didn't see it off of 6th Avenue.
Anyway,
it's one tall building, but there's a lot of pretty tall buildings around it.
Right. Well, what I talked about was people were upset because the plaques were being sat on, the plaques, the memorial plaques, and then people called up and said, well, Mormons go to what do you call it, cemeteries, and they have picnics and stuff there. This guy, Mr. Blessing, says you have to look up something called Utah cuisine and look up funeral potatoes. Funeral potatoes have been used by the Latter-day Saints and all of their relief societies. And they are potatoes that originally were brought to grieving families for a funeral. They're also the potatoes that are served when you have your picnics at the cemeteries.
Cheesy.
It is a cheesy au gratin potato.
Mm-hmm.
The funeral potatoes are generally served with ham rolls, salad, cake, and, of course, Jell-O. Mormons love Jell-O. Now, hold
on.
What?
Salad cake?
No, salad, cake.
Oh.
You know what, Garrett? You knew there was no such thing as a salad.
First I had to think of what a ham roll is. Is it just a rolled up piece of ham?
Excuse me.
It's probably like
ham,
a lunch
roll, salad, cake, and of course Jell-O. That's how I said it.
See?
That time you got me. I thought it was,
Hold it. I even changed the inflection, guys. I went generally served with ham, roll, salad, cake, and of course Jell-O. That's how I said it.
All right.
What is the matter with you two?
Ham rolls and salad cake.
No, I didn't say ham rolls and salad cake. I've been a professional broadcaster for quite a long time. In fact, a guy yesterday whose father just passed away.
Antipasta.
Yeah, right, in Utah, sure.
That's what we do at funerals here.
He came to me and he said, I have something serious to ask you. I said, what is it? He goes, my dad passed away, and he loves his father, but he's very nervous about speaking in front of the congregation when they bury his dad. And I said, okay. And he said, so I thought I would come to the person that I consider to be the number one talker in America. That's what he said to me. You know the advice I gave him? Do you have any children? He said, yes, I do. Then you speak of the thing that your father passed down to you, that you wish you could pass down to your daughter. That's it. And you admit that you're nervous. And you admit that next to the fear of snakes, public speaking is the second greatest fear of human beings. You admit to you attack your fear. It's like when I'm playing golf and I'm going into the wind, Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
I attack the teeth of the wind. I don't try and use it to move the ball one way or the other. I go right where I envision the jaw of the wind. I try and put the ball right into the jaw of the wind. Wow. That's right. Yeah. And when like on a when you're playing football and they go, well, you better avoid that. You don't avoid that corner. What you do is when you avoid danger, right? You never learn how to deal with it. So with me, my motto has always been attack danger. Attack the negative. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that what you're going to pass down to your kids?
I'm going to be dead. Someone's going to have to pass it down for me. My mother and father died before. Well, no, I had kids, but I didn't say anything at my mother's funeral. My mother's still in a coffee can on my brother's desk right now. We never really had a memorial for her.
My dad's big saying was, if it doesn't fit, force it.
Is that how you were born?
Oh, my God. I almost fainted. I did. That hit me. That took all my breath away. Oh, my God. That is the craziest fucking thing I've ever heard. Can you imagine being at your dad's funeral and saying, I'm very nervous up here, but I want to leave you with what my dad taught me? Dead silence. My dad always said, if it doesn't fit, force it. Oh, God. Man, if you don't say that at your dad's funeral, you're an idiot.
I know.
By the way, Christina, there's a problem here with the funeral potatoes.
What's that?
A big problem. Well, it takes an hour to prep it.
Well, you have a lot of slicing to do.
No, it says bake and thaw potatoes. So they're using... Where do you get frozen potatoes?
No, you wouldn't really use the frozen, would you?
I've never seen frozen potatoes.
That's what it says. Frozen potato. Now, here's what you're using.
It's a combination of hash brown and cubes.
Yeah. Condensed cream of chicken soup out of the can, butter, milk, sour cream or Greek yogurt, cheese, onions, optional, it says. Don't you know?
No, throw them in there.
No, you know what? You know good and well that these lily white people that look like computer paper, right, are in Utah going, gosh, are there any onions in that, Bev?
They don't agree with me.
Bev.
Yeah. Hey, Bev. Beverly,
they repeat on me. That's my favorite.
Yeah. Great Odin's Raven. I can't have those. Let's go to Sal.
Wait, hold on. You forgot the best part. You could put potato chips on top.
You could do that with anything.
Potatoes.
You know what? You could do. You know what? If I wouldn't want anything crunchy while I was at a memorial, to be honest. You're at a memorial and you kind of don't want. And while you're eating,
like a cold soup.
No, I mean, no, you'd be like you're eating, Garrett, and you go, and Marvin was a wonderful man. Yeah, you don't want that crunchiness. No. When we were kids, we would have TV night. We'd have to do our homework early and we'd have this TV night. So my brother he never watched hardly ever because he never finished his homework. So he's in the room, didn't do his homework, and he can't watch TV. So whatever the show was, I got to sit in the TV room with my mom and my dad, finish my homework in my pajamas, and we watched some TV show like at 8 o'clock at night. It was a big deal. Invariably, my brother, during an important scene, would come out of his room and go into the kitchen, and right in the middle of an important scene, because he wasn't allowed to watch TV that night, he would get an apple, I swear to God, and in the middle of a big scene, behind you, you would hear, oh, man, I used to go, "You're doing that on purpose!" He'd go, "What?" "You're doing it on purpose to ruin my show!" Yeah. Oh, that's what I would say. And by the way, it would be my show, too. Dad! He's ruining my show! And my father would go, "Jesus H. Christ, be quiet! I can't hear anything." Oh, God, Harry, stop it. Oh, yeah. All my brother did was bite into an apple, and it caused this, it escalated. It's like a rock thrown at an Israeli soldier. The next thing you know, there's a full-fledged war. He threw a rock at me. All right, get the missiles. Bring the fucking missiles in. You rock-throwing bastards. Shoot! Get the guy with the rock with a fucking missile. Sal, yes, it's Jay Thomas. I'm sorry for that outburst. Go ahead, Sal. Yeah.
Yeah, Jay, I just wanted to let you know that you make me laugh every day on the way home from work.
Wow, well, good.
And it's a lot of fun listening to you.
Now, do you ever think that I'm really not well, and that I'm miserable, and that I have these bursts of anger and insanity, and that before the microphone goes on and after it goes off, that I'm really not okay?
Well, the jury is not out on it yet. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Because I truly don't feel okay prior to the show or after the show.
Well, you sound like the kind of guy I would hang out with, and have a drink with. And
if I'm having a good time, it's those quiet moments when I go.
You guys are like the X-rated Seinfeld of airwaves.
Well, wow, what a compliment. What a compliment.
Right? I mean,
you know what, Garrett? We ought to have a podcast.
But, I was listening to Steve, what's his name? The guy
Stephen Hirsch, who owns Vivid. Yeah, he's been on here a few times.
You were saying something about, how did it go about, did you ever think about setting up a Republican with some kind of, what did you say, a church-going girl or something?
What do you mean?
To set the guy up. Remember you said to set a guy up that that's against the sex, and he's always coming after them. But it was funny when you said it. Because what did you say then? Something about somehow setting up a guy, a Republican. No. The guy that's in the moral majority who writes these things against him. I said, do you ever daydream? There must be, when you see some of these porn women, you can't believe that they're so sweet, and yet these greasy guys are just, shooting all over them and banging them and everything else. And when you meet them in person, you're stunned at how, nice they are. Did you ever think about taking one of these girls, and find where this guy, goes, and she, you might even take 6 months to do it, and do a setup. Set him up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would. I mean, I would do it. And you pay her, a couple of grand a month, and whatever you want to pay her expenses, the whole thing, and you have her join the moral whatever it is. You have her, do all the Christian shit, and just, and then start saying what she, if she started telling this guy how powerful he was and how she can't. Oh, he would fall for it in a minute.
Yeah, she's got to lay it on him. Yeah, of course. They'd fall for anything, Eventually they fall for anything when it comes to women.
I will tell you something. When women have done that to me, and I'm not joking because no one's after me, but when women have done that to me, I always knew something was weird about them. Really weird.
Right.
I never met a woman that liked me right off the bat. That it turned out okay.
There was, I wouldn't say there's an expression. Forget it. I'm not going to say it. But anyway, but you know, it was funny when you said that. I seen on one of the channels. I don't really remember the name or play. You know, one of those sex channels. I seen one scene one time where a girl comes to the door, rings the guy's bell with a Bible. She's like one of these churchgoers.
Yeah.
Are you still there? Yeah.
Yeah.
And she comes and she rings the guy's bell and he comes to the door. You know those stupid plots, but this one was really funny. That brought it to my mind. And she comes in and she starts talking to him about the Bible and she's showing. Well, you know how that wound up.
Now, was the Bible in the scene? Did they have they didn't have the word the Bible? They didn't say Bible.
No, I don't remember seeing the word. I just seen a red book. And excuse me, and she was
the red book.
She was presenting it to him. A red book.
You know what that might have been, Garrett? That might have been Mao Zedong's book. That'd have been.
Yeah,
I don't think that was the Bible. I think that was a communist.
Well, it was definitely about the church thing, you know. And
well, I'm going to tell you about porno. That woman that had the 14 children, that Nadja Suleiman, Octomom, she was going to be thrown out on her ass. She did one porno film, and Christina, she is buying a home because
renting. She's
renting a home because of the porn industry. Correct?
Well, because she made money off of the film Home Alone.
Yes. Right.
So she's going to rent an apartment. I don't see. I mean, she's got 14 kids. Don't you think that she should maybe purchase a home so that there's security?
No, I don't. No, there will never be security. I'm watching.
Now,
wait a minute.
14 children. Gross.
I'm watching the film now, but then they keep showing her big fat stomach.
She's making $2,150 a month in rent.
You know what? She got her body. She got her body down pretty good.
Oh yeah, she did. Of course, she she had to make money.
Her body.
Yeah,
she got her body.
Her duck lips are kind of I don't like, but
she did some plastic surgery.
All right, Sal, thank you. Let's go to Stephen, who is in Delaware. Yes, Stephen, come in. It's Jay Thomas.
Hey, Jay. That Freedom Tower is what it's called. It's going to top out at 1,776 feet, which coincides with the Declaration of Independence signed 1776. The other thing is that
they're putting like a stupid long antenna on it to get to that exact.
Yeah, it's this huge spear they're putting on top, and of course they're going to use that for radio transmissions, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And then there's a complex, 16-acre complex. There's several 4 or 5 50-story buildings that are going to surround it, similar to how it was set up before. That they got all torn down, and then the tower has to withstand a direct hit by the biggest commercial airliner that flies today. That was one of the design criteria. But it's been a total clusterfuck. It should have been finished long ago, but everybody had to have a piece of it. Pataki was one of the players, Port Authority, New York and New Jersey.
Right. I read all that. They argued about it, and they didn't like the design and all that. And then the original owner guy, he wanted insurance for both of the towers. Do you remember that controversy? And the insurance company said, we're only going to pay you for one of the towers. Or, I mean, you ought to pretty much have that in your insurance, in your insurance package, that if both towers go down, you got both buildings insured. So I'm going to go see it. Now, would you ever go, Stephen, and bring a sandwich and put your ass on the plaque of a dead person and eat your Subway sandwich?
No, I wouldn't put my ass on the back of a dead person, but
I wouldn't either.
But it looks just like a counter. Like the design is poor. It's perfect height to put something down on. I'm not saying that's a reason why people should, but
it's tempting.
Yes. It's like perfect butt level, so you could kind of lean and sit on it, or put your coat
really?
in. Yeah.
Well, I may not be able to resist now that you're putting it this way, because if I see something that's at perfect level that should be used for a reason, I go for it. I wonder if they made it that way, and now they're embarrassed to say, "Well, we wanted you to sit down on people," and maybe that their spirit would, find their way somehow inside of you. Hey,
Jay.
Okay. Yeah. What is it?
There is an interesting statistic. The PATH station that is new underneath this Freedom Tower. It costs $4.5 billion, and it handles 150,000 passengers a day.
Right.
Grand Central Station handles like a couple million passengers a day.
Mm-hmm.
And in other words, the cost of the whole thing is so insanely out of control.
Well, it's not your money, so don't worry about it. Who gives a shit? It brought jobs into the city. Everybody bitches. Yeah. It's not your money. It's not my money.
Yeah,
I don't give a
shit. It's my money.
Well, good. Too bad. For you and your dad. Hey, if it doesn't fit, shove it up your ass. Isn't that what your dad said?
You got
the saying he gave you?
Yeah.
All right.
Close
Thank
enough.
you, Stephen. It's money. It's not your money. You didn't spend 15 cents. Oh, let's go to Jan, who's in Florida.
Yes.
Hello, Jan. It's Jay Thomas. Go ahead.
Hello, Jay.
Yeah.
I was listening. I wanted to tell you what my daughter told me after her first experience with sex, because I tried not to lose it in front of her, but she come home and she said, well, I had sex for the first time, Mom. And I said, well, how was it? And she said, well, the first thing, he wanted me to put his penis in my mouth, and I told him that I don't put peas in my mouth, and I ain't putting that thing in there.
Well, you know what? You've taught the girl well, haven't you, Jan?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, what about the sex part? And she says, well, I told him I could do better myself, and I'll see you later.
I think your daughter might be lying to you, but she's a cute girl. What a sweet girl. So the boy wanted her to put the penis in her mouth, and she said, "Forget." She doesn't even eat peas. Is that what she said?
No, she said, I don't put peas in my mouth, and I'm not putting that in there.
Wow, what a good girl. What a great girl.
Right.
I know you're a proud parent, and by the way, please continue to share with us here at Sirius XM, would you? Thank you, Jan, very much.
Thank you.
I was asked once when I lived in Brooklyn, there was a bodega on the corner, and a bunch of neighborhood guys used to hang out there.
Now, you've got to tell people outside of New York, which I didn't know what it was either, what a bodega
It's a convenience store, just like a corner convenience store.
Right. You've got to say that, though, because when I moved to New York,
store.
Yeah, people kept saying, well, let's go down to the bodega. And I'm thinking, what is that exactly? Okay, so you go to this bodega.
Right, so there was one on the corner, and these neighborhood guys used to hang out there, and I didn't know it, but they were all drug dealers and, kind of like whatever, in the neighborhood. And one day I was walking to the store to buy Swedish fish, and Paulie goes, hey, Christina, why don't you get over here and give me a blowjob? And I was only like 14 years old.
Oh, come on.
13 years old, yeah. And I had no idea what it was, what it meant, nothing. I was like 12, actually.
Well, your mother's not like Jan.
No, I was in a bubble my whole life. So I went home and I told my dad, I was like, hey, Dad, Paulie wants me to give him a blowjob, but I don't know what that means. And I thought,
your dad go nuts on Paulie?
No, my dad goes, Anna! And he screamed for my mother. I don't know what happened. My dad definitely saw him at the corner and, talked to him or whatever. But the next year we moved to Pennsylvania.
Well, nobody would ever say that in Pennsylvania. Not with the Amish influence,
no, they don't
I can tell you
say
that.
it
Did you
there.
blow someone there?
Yes, I did. Almost immediately, too. I was 15.
A year and you didn't know what it was.
Another heartwarming
I didn't know what
story.
acid was either, but I was doing that, too, right there in the woods.
So your parents must have thought you'd really spun out of control. If my kids were given blowjobs and doing
my
acid
mother
at
and
15,
father didn't know anything like that. No, I wasn't.
Garrett, I have two boys. That would really upset me. Yeah.
They didn't realize that I turned into, this drugged out little hooker.
Speaking of public speaking, I want to bring someone to the microphone right now that is a person that I've heard speak for years and sing, I might add. And you'd think, well, maybe this person should be shy or nervous when it comes to public speaking. But no, he is not. Are you, Shawnee?
I'd like you to pass my number along to your friend. I could teach him something about public speaking.
Have you had to speak at a funeral of a relative or someone that meant a lot to you?
Well, let me tell you something, Jay. When I talk, people cry all the time.
He talks, people cry. But when you sing, and I read this the other day, it's because there's another part of the brain or something that manifests itself in the singing. Why is it that people that stutter or have a speech difficulty like you have, when they sing, they're able to do it without pausing?
I've always feeling it is because you're concentrating more on the notes and the harmonies and melodies and actually cognitively trying to put together words in your head. The words are already there.
Yeah, that was actually one of these. It might have been in that Scientific American Mind magazine, because singing is also very fast. Like you have to kind of think more quickly. So is your problem something that they could operate on, or is it something they could teach you to stop somehow?
I almost one time went in for the speak easy, which is like a hearing aid that makes you hear things. I'm not sure exactly what it does. It makes it sound like there's a chorus of people in your head.
Did it help you?
It's like $5,000 and.
Yeah, but you know what? To be honest, if you went around and just talked to people long enough and drove them nuts, eventually they'd give you $100 a piece, and you'd have enough money because I would give you $100 just to to start it off, and that then you just need 50 more people. So. Yeah, I mean, you need to get that. You're making me stutter, and I don't usually stutter.
Jay, I started the new service for people that hate their families. They can hire me to read their eulogies.
Okay. All right. I'll give you 200. All right. Thank you, Shawnee. Shawnee, see you later. Let's go to Bill, who's in West Virginia. Bill, when's the last time you watched, a pornographic something on the internet or, a DVD or something like that? When's the last time you did it?
This morning.
This morning. Now,
yes, sir.
Does it make you treat your wife differently, and it make you become more aggressive at work? And
it makes me treat my wife differently in the evening.
It does. It does. Would your wife do any of the things to you that you saw in the video this morning?
Hell no.
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 You mean she wouldn't spread her cheeks and let you come on her crack while another girl is under her?
No,
You're
not
kidding, right? Hey, Garrett, I couldn't even get it out. It's so embarrassing. You mean you couldn't put your penis in your wife and have her girlfriend, then put your penis in her mouth? Oh, God.
No, hell no. We were eating.
You mean really your wife wouldn't let you do that? That's amazing. Sometimes I see it and I go, the germs, Christina. That's what I can't stop thinking about. The germs.
I know.
You go, are you kidding? And they're worried about mouse shit, at campgrounds spreading, this Havarta virus or whatever it is. Are you kidding? Good Lord. All right. We do have another guest coming up, don't we? Here we go. UFO Phil for president. Stay where you are.
In my garden, and I never knew there were aliens on my roof. I got shadow people, and they're living in
This is the music of UFO Phil that Garrett has told me I've had on the show before but don't remember. But
I was so blind before, I was so unaware.
So he's like
I swear I'm seeing Sasquatch over there.
This is the Coast to Coast theme song.
I love that show.
Yeah.
I do. I got my interview style from that guy. He never acts like the idiots that he's talking to are idiots.
No, yeah, he supports them.
Nori, what's his name?
George Nori.
George Nori. He does. And they're complete idiots. And they'll say the dumbest stuff, and George will go, really? Like that. Yeah, I got that from George. He doesn't even know me. UFO Phil, this is some kind of fake.
There he is.
He's ready.
Fake entertainer deal.
I think it's
Go to UFO
Andy
Phil.
Kaufman.
Yeah, you're not real. You're just doing this for money, and you're acting silly. You don't believe in UFOs any more than I do.
Hello, is this Jay?
Well, I'm wrong. You do believe in UFOs. UFO Phil, have we spoken before? I don't remember, but they say we have.
Yeah, I do remember it, actually, but I have a really good memory.
Yeah, I remember you now because you actually have the voice of a person from another planet.
Well, I don't know about that. I was born in Roswell.
You weren't really born in Roswell, were you?
Well, yeah, I was. I wouldn't lie about it.
Yeah, no. Now, you told a lot of the news outlets that you think the Statue of Liberty should come down, and a monument to Zaxxon. Who is Zaxxon? Who are these people that you worship?
Well, can you keep a secret?
Sure.
He's not really that good at it.
Yeah. What is it?
Zaxxon, he's the leader of the good aliens. It's him right here. And as you can see, he has very nice skin. And I think that he'd be beautiful in a statue form.
How long have you been doing this UFO Phil bit?
How long have I what?
Been doing the UFO Phil bit. How long have you been? I mean, did you make
to George Nori still?
Yeah, I mean, does George still buy into this, or does he just think you're acting silly?
I don't know. George is a pretty good friend of mine, but I only talk to him about every 6 months, and we just pretty much talk about aliens, and we don't get real personal or nothing like that.
So why don't the aliens, if they're really up there, why don't they just come down, make themselves known to us? Shoot a couple of laser beams, blow a cow or two up, or stop a tank or whatever, instead of all this mysterious nonsense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the good aliens are coming down this year, and that's why they're installing me as the new president to sort of make way for their coming.
You'll be the president. Why would they choose you? No one here would follow you. We wouldn't listen to you. You're like a nut.
Well, it's not. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Like a lot of presidents, they try and tell you that you have to sign up for this health plan or you have to pay this tax or that tax. But I'm not really interested in telling people what to do. I'm just going to be sort of like an ambassador between Earth and the aliens, and so that's why I'm going to be president of the Earth, because Obama or Mitt Romney or whoever can still have their job. I'm not going to interfere with that.
Now, could we kill them if we wanted to? I mean, can our weapons kill them?
You could try, but it wouldn't really do much good.
He was laughing. Now, I don't get this. Are we going to be one day, I mean, are they like 1,000,000 years before us or 1,000 or whatever? I mean, are we going to one day get to where we're going to have the same weapons? And did they start the same way we are, like with a microwave oven and a laser pointer? And the next thing you know, there's, like real big laser bombs and thought control and all that stuff.
Well, the real key, Jay Thomas, is the anger management, and that's what they mastered centuries ago, is not to get angry and blow their top. It's to always have control of oneself. And what happens on Earth is somebody gets angry and they start a fight, or they honk their horn in traffic, or if they're a president, then they start a war. But in planet Zaxxon, they don't just get mad and hurt people and blow things up. They have to. That's why they can have such incredible weapons and still exist.
So you say it's anger management, but if you managed your anger, why would you continue building weapons of mass destruction?
Well, it's a lot easier to manage your anger when you know that even if like somebody else does cut you off in traffic, you can just blow them away. It gives you a certain confidence, and the confidence is what allows you to keep control.
So you must be an advocate of everyone in the United States carrying a weapon.
I try not to get involved in that because it's really petty and when you look
It's not petty. If everybody had a gun, nobody would fuck with anybody because you could get shot.
Yeah, I don't really want anyone to get hurt, but I'm more interested in getting rid of taxes. There should be no taxes at all. And if I had my way, I would just get rid of taxes.
So if we had no taxes, who would turn the lights on? And when there was trouble, how would the police and the firemen get paid and the roads get fixed? How would you do that?
Well, can you keep a secret?
Yeah.
What happens is you go to your job, and then when it's time for your paycheck, they mail the check to the government. And then it takes it out of your hands, and you don't have to be worried about being irresponsible with your money. And the government takes it, and then in exchange, they don't take taxes, because then they'd be taxing themselves because they're getting the money. And in exchange, they give you everything you need. And
Wasn't that my idea yesterday, Garrett, or 2 days ago? Yeah, I've had that idea. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they pay for everything, but I want a bigger – look, Phil, I want a bigger house than you have. I want a better car than you have. I'm not going to – you dress like, like the Dalai Lama's illegitimate son. I don't want to look like you or dress like you, so I'd need more money to buy better shit than you have. How does that work?
Well, you need a lot of money because the threads that I use are very expensive.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, that's good. And you're running for president and all that stuff, and you're believe in outer space and everything else. Where are you performing anywhere? Are you a stand-up comedian also? UFO Phil?
I've heard that term, but I'm not trying to do anything funny. I'm just trying to tell people about the aliens, and then when people laugh, I think it's just an emotional release.
It is. The great UFO Phil. Go to UFOphil.com and find out all about him. Thank you, UFO Phil. All right. Can you keep a secret? That's his. So he's a comic, right, Garrett? That's what's pissing me off.
Can you keep a secret?
Yeah.
He's not a comic. Christina, when you called him, how did he answer the phone?
Hello?
Oh, he did just like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was Sour Shoes, and then somebody else called up and was like, that's definitely Sour Shoes. And I said, well, no, if it was Sour Shoes, then he'd be, more entertaining.
Yeah, funny.
Let's go to Sean of California. And stupid me, I fall for it. I think they wrote a story about him, and I thought he was a real person. Sean of California, yes, go ahead.
Hey, Jay, how are you?
Fine.
Hey, listen, I was just wondering, would it be possible for you to request that Christina say, spit on your dick at least once a day?
All right. Have her say in Farsi, get rid of him, please. Would you do it?
Ziminja Bikash.
All right, there you go. That's done in Farsi. Let's go to Mick. Yes, Mick, it's Jay Thomas. You're calling us at 888-410-212. Your voice boxes from 3476 on the way, and your personal emails to me. All of that coming up in a couple of minutes. Go ahead, Mick.
Yes, sir. Well, I've had a discussion with my girlfriend about masturbation, because I jack off I'd say on average about twice a week, and I know she does. She has vibrators and all that stuff, and she was asking me, she goes, when you beat off, what do you beat off to? And I said, well, typically, we have 2 bathrooms in our home, and I typically take in, the laptop or the iPad, and I jack off to porn. And she goes, oh, well, when I masturbate, I think of you like something hot that we did. And she goes, well, isn't that kind of like cheating? And I said, well, no, that's kind of a sham for you to think about me. Think about something else. Think about something, some hot guy or whatever. I mean, that's part of the fun of beating off. And I've got a thing where I've got like an ID, like a Washington State ID of a girlfriend from years ago in my wallet.
You jerk off to you jerk off to a Washington State identification.
An old girlfriend.
We don't have the abilities that you do for Spank Bank.
All right. And let me tell you something, Mick.
Yes,
First of all, you and your girlfriend have perhaps the stupidest fucking relationship I've ever heard. You sound like a complete fucking idiot. And this kind of discussion is, I'm just listening to it going, okay, you bring a machine into the bathroom with you. First of all, most people use their imagination. They have fantasy flip cards. You can go all the way back to your first girlfriend in high school or whatever, or it can be your girlfriend or whatever.
I do that too.
But part of the excitement, and what you're doing is you've called up here because the reality is you find this interesting and you think it's, I don't know what, you think this is kind of, people are going to love hearing you talk about this. You just sound like a complete fucking asshole. That's what you sound like. And if you really do this with your girlfriend, I feel sorry for both of you. Get rid of this fucking asshole, would you? Just
he means a big ass.
Yeah, get rid of him. Jesus, they want to call up, and they want to. It's almost like not a peeping Tom. It's almost like these obscene phone callers. They want to hear the reaction of the person on the other line before you could trace phone calls and stuff like that. It has nothing to do with reality or. I also think that if a woman is dumb enough to go out with a guy like this, then whatever happens to them in their relationship, they both deserve. That's what you would talk about in the course of the day, what you think about, and then become jealous by your fantasies? Come on. I mean, if your girlfriend said, I think of a whole, like, the firemen from, ladder number 4, they stopped at my house before 9/11 and fucked me. You know what I'm saying, Garrett?
Uh-huh.
That would be a turn on. You mean before they even went to save anyone? Yeah. Fuck me. Oh. That's a patriotic fantasy. God. Keith of Salt Lake City. Are you the guy that sent me the thing about funeral potatoes?
No. I just heard you talking about them, and
yeah,
I just curious where you get your Mormon information at.
That comes no. You type in Mormon funeral potatoes, and it comes up.
They're great.
Okay,
I've never had a picnic at the cemetery.
Well, that's another one that comes right off of the people have been sending me this information, and we go on to the site, and the site comes up. I didn't know anything about any of that, and so if you look for it, you go and you would picnic at the cemetery on a Sunday, I guess, to talk to your relatives, your dead relatives.
No, I never heard or even seen that.
Well, maybe you weren't invited by your family because you were, they didn't think you deserved to be there. There are a lot of secrets in the Mormon church also.
Yeah?
Yeah. You think perhaps your family just never invited you because you might cause some sort of trouble?
Yeah, I don't get to wear the magic underwear or anything like that.
There you go. You're not for real. That's why. They know it. Yeah. They have funeral potatoes. They have, what they have, Garrett? Deviled eggs.
Green Jello.
Is there any pasta, or is that just a Brooklyn funeral?
Yeah. Christina, outside of the major cities and ethnic people that always smell like, fried chickpeas, pasta's not the first thing you think of. You think of a sandwich, a white bread sandwich, or potato au gratin. You do that. Or macaroni and cheese.
Well, that's a pasta.
Yeah, but it's not considered a pasta. Macaroni and cheese.
It's a good, tray food.
With bacon in it, Garrett. Little fresh bacon and truffles, and then you charge $9 for it at one of these bullshit restaurants. Let's go to Roy. Roy, it's Jay Thomas. Yes, go ahead.
Hey, Jay, how's it going, brother?
Good.
I got a question. I also got a laptop when I go masturbate in the restroom, and I also got an ID. Why is that so stupid, brother?
Whose ID do you jerk off to? Your own?
No, jerk off to a black man's.
You have the picture of a black man on an ID, and you have your laptop. Let me tell you something. Not the sexiest image I've ever had in my mind. You know, first of all, having to take a laptop into the bathroom makes me laugh. I mean, a book is enough, but to bring in this cold metal piece of equipment into the bathroom, don't you have any imagination?
Can I get a picture of Garrett? He sounds pretty sexy.
There's this TV show called The League, and he puts his phone in a Ziploc bag and takes his phone into the shower so he can jerk off in the shower. That sounds pretty smart.
Shower
love you, Jade. Love you guys' show.
Oh, really?
All right, thank you.
It's hard to stand up.
Oh, please.
Your knees get all
what?
shaky.
Yeah, but I mean, I need to be.
You
know what? Masturbation should be a relaxing thing, like you're
Yeah,
in
but
the
not when
morning
you're like
or
have
at night
kids running around and like a.
Came home and he calls me up and he says, "Oh my God, I moved out." He hadn't been married but a few months. I moved out on her and all this kind of shit. And I go, "What do you mean?" I was out of town. I was out of town for like 10 days. And when I came back, I started, trying to kiss her and everything else. She had no interest. And she goes upstairs to her room. And when I went upstairs later to open the door, she had a dildo in her vagina and one in her ass. And he was telling me this like it was a bad thing, right? And as soon as he said the two dildos, I stopped listening after that. And he was saying, "Can you believe that? She would rather," and I said, "Oh, that's awful," and they eventually got divorced. I've always thought that I could have thought of something other than I'm leaving you during that, visage, I would have done anything at that moment. If I walked in and this woman who hates my guts was doing, double penetration, I would have still gotten divorced, but by the way, I fantasized about that and didn't even see it. The fact that she didn't need you, Garrett, is kind of a turn on, Yeah. And but she'd let you watch her do this. I had a girlfriend like that once. She would she would touch herself and do all this stuff. For some reason, really didn't want to, go into the heavy battle,
Mm-hmm.
That was fine for me. That didn't bother me at all. I don't really care how it comes out, just so it comes out. And you're just an object of, the whatever. You're an object of release. I like you or I love you, but when it comes to sex, you're just an object of release. That's all. I can't imagine making love to anybody that for a moment you don't feel love for. Because your skin is being engulfed in somebody else's warm, moist flesh. And so for that moment, you don't even know them. Even those scumbags in the pornos look like they really are liking the woman for a couple of seconds there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen them kiss a few times.
Certainly marriage has proven you can be deeply in love with someone you don't have a lot of sex with. I think the whole institution of people being together a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes, even though you love them, you'll have sex with them, and it's not a loving sex, right? But you would be with someone that you don't like or you don't even know, and you have sex with them, and you feel an emotional attachment during the sex that isn't there when you're not together. Does that make sense?
Totally.
It's weird, isn't it?
It is weird.
It's the first time I ever thought of it. Now, as soon as the show is over, I'm going to be deeply depressed by this revelation.
Just go masturbate.
No, you know what?
In a closet.
No, I don't go in any enclosed areas. I want to want the windows open. I want the lights on. It needs to be completely. I like to have a fan on. Sometimes I will shower to have like a date with my own hand.
You don't go into the covers or anything like that, do you?
No, wide open.
Well, that's a mess.
Here we go. And I hang a little sign on the door that says, "Forget about it." I have this thing from the hotel, the Lowe's Hotel. It's written in one word, "Forget about it."
Does the family know that that's Daddy's private time?
I have no idea. I know we have boys, and I'm not kidding you. The door will be closed in their room, and you'll yell, and you hear nothing. There's no answer. No answer at all. And you know they're in there. It's just weird. Hey! Beavis! Beavis! Butthead! No, and then about 10 minutes later, oh, you call me? Did you call me? Steve of Utah. Yes, Steve, it's Jay Thomas. We've had a discussion about funeral potatoes. That's a go. What about this picnicking in the Mormon cemeteries? Is that something that happens in the great state of Utah?
That actually happens, Jay. If you know what a Polynesian is, which generally is Tongan, Samoan, their customs are, yes, they actually do go to the funerals, or excuse me, the cemeteries. They will sit around, they'll have picnics, and they do make it an all-day event to sit there. Mm-hmm. And they will actually take lawnmowers out, clean the grass, clean the headstones up. It's part of their culture, and yes, the Mormon churches brought them into it. So when they say that happens in Utah, it does. And funeral potatoes are better than Mormon pussy at times, Jay, I'll be honest with you.
Well, I almost, I don't know that I was going to become a Mormon, but I lived there in Nashville, and I really loved the weekends with them. But I remember that they were not going to do anything with me until I joined the club. I knew that. And then when they realized I wasn't going to join the club, that was the end. But man, oh man, they would serve you that food and those biscuits, and I guess I had funeral potatoes and didn't even know it. And we would play softball, and we would throw the frisbee, and oh man, I really did. I had a great time. It made me want to join up. But then I realized they were just trying to get me to join, you know?
But, you know, the good thing about being in Utah, there's a lot of us that are not Mormons, but we know someone is related to some, so we can always get that good food and just pretend to give a shit about them for a few minutes for the food. You know that.
Well, years ago, I mean, I used to go help out at this church in New York, and I really went. It was like not a suicide prevention line, but it had a bunch of kind of stuff like that. And, you know, I just wanted to do something. And you would meet kind of a religious girl there, and I would always do my kind of religious bullshit, pretending that I was religious. And they would sleep with you. I mean, as long as they feel
a religious girl.
Yeah, as long as they feel comfortable with you and you get them to like you, you know, it's not that they're not going to have sex, but it's going to take longer.
Well, if she's screaming, oh, God, then that means you really made that religious girl's day.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, you know, I wouldn't do this if I didn't, you know, feel spiritually attached to you and all of that. And for that moment, I did. There's no doubt.
Well, and you wear them like a skin suit for a few minutes, and you were attached to them.
There you go. Absolutely. There's no deeper love than when you're deeply coming.
Even if it is only 6 inches deep, dude, it's still deep.
There you go. All right, Steve.
Hey, Jay, I love the show, man.
Thank you so much. Let's go to Jeremy, who's in Chicago. Yes, Jeremy, it's Jay Thomas. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah.
My wife was laid off a couple months ago, and she's been researching family history. She's Norwegian, and so she's laid off, and she's trying to pass the time, and she's got this website called gravefinder.com.
That's your wife's website.
No, it's not her. It's not her site.
Oh, I don't care.
Stumbled upon it, and basically, she has been going to a couple of these cemeteries that are around our house. She's interested in these types of things, and basically, it's like a website where people request. Like if you live on the West Coast and you have family on the East Coast that's buried, you know, people want to see these graves or whatever, and they'll request pictures and. So she's been taking.
They want to see the grave of their relative, like in Rhode Island, and they live in Wyoming. So they'll have you take a picture of their relative's grave.
And it's crazy because she says people will email her back like they're so sad and they cried, and it's just I can't imagine it. But part of this also, when you were saying the picnicking, she's been going and seeing people there, and it's like Little Caesars boxes in the garbage cans And I guess there's a big Mexican area or Spanish area of this one cemetery she's been going to, and she sees it's obvious they're drinking at the grave, and just leaving the bottles behind, like it's some sort of tribute or something. But it's very crazy, and just the food, like she said, it seems like they're picnicking and having a party.
You know why? They don't have enough money to go to a place and have a party. It's like when they have these weddings and you don't have enough money to rent a hall. So you get a $20 permit to have it under a tree at a park. I always look at that and go, if you don't have enough fucking money to get like a place indoors, then and all you can do is like barbecue with your uncle. I don't think you ought to be getting married. But yeah, they have nowhere to go. That's why they do it. So they make up some bullshit story, and they go to the cemetery. The only cool thing about a cemetery is to really go get stoned in a cemetery. That's fun.
My wife,
New Orleans, everybody's buried above ground, so there's a lot of sightseeing.
To Savannah, because she really likes spooky stuff and haunted stuff.
So your wife is now, because of being laid off, is into graves now.
Well, she's only doing this for one cemetery because a lot of her family is buried at this one particular cemetery, and she's been taking. I guess in the past she tried this, but it was like she was bombarded with people asking her, "Would you take a picture of this? Would you take a picture of that?" But with no information, like she's not going to walk around the cemetery.
Well, what is gravefinder.com about? Your wife is taking a picture of someone's grave. What is that website about?
Isn't it kind of like a Facebook for graves, and you can just see? Is that kind of
God Almighty?
It seems like every cemetery must, I don't know if every cemetery is listed in there. It's just like people doing it on their own. But even just today, she took a picture of a couple plots and the headstones, and I guess this one lady messaged her. She was so thankful that she did it, but there was a family secret. Like the one husband was married to his wife, and the wife died, and then he married the sister.
Yeah, well, that happened. That happened.
She went and took a picture of it, and the sister was right next to they were both next to the husband and everything, and she freaked out because she didn't think that would be possible. She was like, no way that they would be buried next to each other, and then here they are.
Sure.
It's just amazing how people don't know.
Now, does your wife ever want to have sex in the graveyard?
She's never said that or anything.
No, of course not. That's what's so crazy. I'm sure you've thought it a million times. She's actually there for the bullshit reason. You're standing there going, if she would just fuck me one time in a graveyard, I would think this is the greatest idea in the world. They never want to fuck you. They just want to really do the stupid fucking thing that they want to do. It's unbelievable. Look, if my wife likes stumps, Garrett, if she said, I want to take pictures of stumps, I would go with her. If just one time we'd have sex on a stump. Mm-hmm. And then I'd go and I would just hope maybe 6 months later. But what happens is guys end up going with women and nothing ever happens. It's like these women that have to go with their husbands to the reunion of their army unit. Oh my God. Unless all the army guys were going to, unless you have group sex with what's the use of going and watching them wear those VFW hats, those campaign caps or whatever it is. And they're always got, USS Sank-A-Lot. Yeah, I was on the Sank-A-Lot. Yeah. It's like, what? Please. It'd be like us going back to, you think we'll ever have a Sirius XM reunion one day? No.
We can't even have a Christmas party.
And if you did, you would only have a +1, Jay.
All right, let's go to Carrie, who is, I heard you. Let's go to Carrie, who is in Las Vegas. Yes, Carrie, go ahead. Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, Jay? Fun day. Big fan. I wanted to see what you thought about the new Treme starting up again.
One of the main stars, I can't pronounce his last name, Mikel, lives across the street from me in New Orleans. He's from Amsterdam. He's a nice guy. He's got a big part on it. There's nothing in Treme for me or any of my friends from New Orleans. I discussed it with my brother, with a bunch of buddies of mine. There's just nothing in that show for us. It's not any neighborhoods that we know. It's nothing we would do. I don't know why that show is still on the air. I have no idea. It's just like, you mean there are no tax-paying, regular white New Orleans citizens in the show? It's all, everybody's got a fucking trumpet or a fucking saxophone or they're fucking each other, or there's a criminal, or whatever. I mean, that's about a 3-block area of the whole. It's just, they didn't show my neighborhood. They didn't hire me, so fuck them. How does that sound? I don't know what that show's about. I have no idea. It's like a show about New York, okay? It's called, it's Treme. So it's an area. It's not about New Orleans. It's about Treme. Which is a fringe. It's just an area that of the city. So you watch it and it's not interesting. It doesn't. I don't even think Harry Shearer watches it, and he lives in New Orleans. I don't know. So it doesn't. Do you watch it? Do you like it? Do you find it interesting?
I did find it interesting. The first season. Actually, no, the second season. The first season I thought was slow. But I don't know much about New Orleans at all.
Yeah, maybe in that way, yeah, it's good. But for us that live there, maybe if we did, maybe all those shows about Vegas that come out, it's probably not about Vegas either, right?
White trash, fucking dumbass.
Yeah, they show the Strip or a guy. Everybody in a show about Vegas runs a casino, Guys I know that work at casinos are some of the squarest guys in the world. They work their 12-hour shift, right? Even if they're the managers of the place. They hate it. They hate their job. People are assholes. And, they're either drunk or gambling. Hey, what about in Las Vegas, Steve Wynn winning over $20 million from the guy from Girls Gone
Joe
Wild?
Francis.
Yeah, beat the shit out of him in court. Do you know that case, Kerry? Do you know that?
Yeah, I heard about it on the news. I hate that guy, Joe Francis, so I think slap it to him.
Joe Francis said in his book, I believe, that Steve Wynn threatened to kill him and bury him in the desert over gambling debts.
$2 million.
Oh, okay. I don't know how much.
That's what he won. $20 million.
No, he won $20 million.
He did, but he only owed $2 million. He owed $2 million. He asked for 12. And they gave him 20. And now they're saying that there's more money coming Joe Francis's way. I mean, coming to Steve Wynn's way.
Yeah.
This great story about Steve Wynn. He's blind and he has all these paintings. And one day he stumbled into one and put a hole in it, and the value went down.
The Teppanyaki restaurant out here, and this was about 10 years ago when I first moved out here.
Yeah.
And he had this really nice, Ferrari or something, but he couldn't see. He couldn't see getting in the door, and he was driving the car, and his wife would get out of the car, and she'd have white knuckles, and she was telling him left or right, speed up or slow down. But he couldn't see, and you could see a little bit, obviously, but nothing like he should be driving. And he'd bump into the door walking into the restaurant, but he just got out of the car driving.
Well, yeah, I think he was losing his eyesight, and then he had every surgery and did everything he could. I guess the artwork is for other people and all of that, but the fact that he walks from painting to painting and knows what the paintings are, a friend of mine said it's really creepy because he's completely blind, but he's memorized, obviously, each painting, and it's almost like you're listening to a recording of the thing. I guess he's an okay guy. I don't know. And the golf course he's got. If I was blind, I would close down everything that would be enjoyable for people with sight. I would just close it all down. I would just have my empire. I'd have my money, and I would sell all the paintings. I would close the golf course, all of it, because I couldn't enjoy it. So I wouldn't want anybody else.
You got any stand-up things happening out here?
No, I don't do stand-up in Las Vegas. I don't do that. No.
Hey, Carrie, you ever go to Lotus of Siam out in Vegas?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it as awesome as they say it is?
What is that?
It's some Thai restaurant that every president has been to, every celebrity, and it's in a strip mall. It's the weirdest thing. Go ahead.
It's authentic. It's really authentic food. And you got to really know, that cuisine to know what to order and all that.
If it's really authentic Thai food, there must be cat and dog in it.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. You go in there, and I don't trust them at all. Like,
Thank
the
you.
one guy walks in and asks you what you want, and then
Yeah. Well, you know, when Barack Obama went there, Garrett, he said this tastes just like the chicken from Indonesia. All right, Gary, thank you. Let's go to Gary of New Jersey. Yes, Gary, go ahead.
Hello, Jay. Earlier, before your guest there, you were talking about masturbation.
Yes.
And I masturbate there, I must admit it, and in the bed with my wife next to me. If my wife wakes up and catches me, what does she say?
I don't know.
You want to go around the horn?
No, I don't. Goodbye.
Is that what she says?
Get rid of him. Get rid of this idiot. Get rid of it. Get rid of him, Garrett.
Why?
But I don't want to go around the horn.
Said.
Stop
no, you
shaking
don't.
the bed.
Stop it. You don't want to hear anything from that guy. It's all made up.
Why?
Because they're stupid. That's why. I do this for a living, and you're naive.
You've never masturbated next to your sleeping wife?
I have, but she didn't wake up and say anything.
Well, that's because she's all knocked out.
No. This is what you do. You go like this. You go. And when you think she's awake, you stop.
You're doing it way too fast.
And then
the sleep jerk, you got to go all slow. You got to like caress it.
And then she pulls the covers a little bit, and you go like this. You go. Like that. Okay.
That sounds awful.
Let's go to Mark of Georgia. Then we'll go to our voice boxes, that the messages you left us. Yes, Mark, go ahead.
Hey, Jay. I was listening to a replay of yesterday's show this morning, and, man, people were beating the hell out of Garrett and Christina over the 9/11 thing.
Yeah, well, they deserved it. They deserved it.
No, hell, they don't. Look.
They were saying they didn't like all of the moment of silence and everything. You can't say that about
bullshit. Listen,
it isn't bullshit.
That is not what we were saying. We were taken out of context.
These innocent people died in one of the most heinous attacks from the United States. You can't. You have to have silence for these people.
Let me talk for a minute, please. I'm sick of this shit. It's been 11 years. I understand people got killed. So what? Goddamn, people in Oklahoma City got killed. People in Pearl Harbor got killed. They don't ask for a moment of silence or our $700 million memorial. It's New York is all it is.
On every channel.
So why don't you just go ahead and say it's a bunch of New York Jews? Why don't you just finish it with a
goddamn, just because it's New York, we got to have all this.
He almost said it, Garrett. He almost said it.
Where was the Oklahoma City moment of silence? That was a terrible
Oklahoma City was a horrible tragedy, and they should have a moment of silence for that also. Yes, I
just don't hear them bitching about it. They move on like people should do, I'm tired of this shit. It's been 11 years. Get over it. That goddamn firefighter that called yesterday bitching Garrett out. Your occupation is to run into goddamn burning buildings. What do you expect? Somebody fucking dies every now and then, you whiny-ass fucking bitch. I'm sick of it.
Wow.
Get over it. That's all I got to say.
Okay. There's Mark. Thank you. A great American. That's a great American. Yeah, I wouldn't want a guy. I would tell you something. If that's who you're throwing your lot in with, okay, fine. Go ahead.
Tune?
No, I'm not changing my tune. Go ahead. You march with that. You go ahead and march with him. That's fine. That's just fine. What do we? I'm almost afraid to run the recorded stuff. But no, you know what? I'm going to read. I am going to read some emails that we got not praising you.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even technically say if I agreed or not.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't say I agree or disagree, but I stood up for you.
Yeah, you did.
And man, did I take the heat. Remember that next time.
This is from Danny.
The shitstorm comes on.
What was that?
Jay, I don't get it either. 9/11 was very bad. I don't understand why there's not more done on that day. Garrett is a fucked up person.
What more can you do, though? I mean, it's on
from Linda.
Channel.
Do we still have a moment of silence for Pearl Harbor?
Ooh.
Why not? Why don't we? Well, we used to, but people have gotten over that. A lot of them have died.
Well,
I think you have a moment of silence for the most current tragedy. That's all.
So what is current to you?
9/11.
What about the tsunami earthquake in Japan?
We don't know those people.
Oh.
No doubt, says 972135 at vidpix.com. I don't know where they get these websites. No doubt Garrett has no empathy because he does seem to have quite an intellect. I do find it pretty damn funny that Garrett and Christina, their lives seem to revolve only around television. Please have Christina stop at a gas station on the way home and change the air in her head. Ooh,
ouch. Ooh. I mean, it doesn't count if I agree with you.
Mm-hmm. Jay, the governor of Montana mentioned Robert Berg begging on the Senate floor not to invade Iraq. Mr. Berg was elderly and past his prime. However, find that speech on YouTube for a great audio or video. I don't remember the speech, but Garrett, would you try and find it?
Do you want to play that traitor to the United States of America?
I don't think he was a traitor. He said don't bomb Iraq because they don't have any
He was
weapons.
the only one saying it. And everyone said he was a traitor and kicked him out and he lost his job and blah, blah, blah.
Dear Jay, you thought Governor Schweitzer was so good. Well, he's full of shit. The stock market is artificially high. Big banks are pumping all their cash into the market and not lending because they lost all faith in the American consumer. Wow. Your family's mighty lucky to have you coming home. Dear Jay, a doctor, a lawyer, and a gunsmith go hunting in Montana. Sitting around the campfire, the lawyer quaffs his brandy, throws the snifter in the air, shoots it, and exclaims, "It doesn't get any better than this." Then the gunsmith chugs his Budweiser, shoots the lawyer, and says, "It doesn't get any better than this." Stupid idiots. The governor of Montana was the best guest you've ever had, but I don't think he found that you were trustworthy enough to handle with a weapon. You know what? He isn't really coming across with the hunting trip, okay?
No.
I'm having trouble with it. Having trouble hunting trip. This comes from...
then you invited yourself to Stephen Hirsch's vivid
Christmas party,
yeah.
Do we get to come with you for that?
No, you don't. What a bore you would be.
Why is that?
Because if I was going to do something, Christina would go, "I'm going to tell."
What?
Yes, she would.
I would go with a porno.
I wouldn't tell anybody.
I would go with a porno queen.
And post it on Facebook immediately.
Yeah,
Duh.
we would be dancing. It would be like a little secret I would have. And before I left the house,
I am a great wing
Garrett,
woman, and I'm offended.
Here's me leaving the house. Ready, Garrett?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, I got to go to this business Christmas party tonight. Jesus. Forgot about it. Oh, it's going to be late. I might have to stay over at a hotel. Oh, I'm so sorry. All right, okay. Tell your mother hi and all that. From Greg. What makes Romney think I have any money to loan my kids? Fucking idiot. That's what he said. He did say that. Kids ought to borrow money from their parents for college. Jim says, Janine Turner, who you spoke of and does Christ Yoga, which is Christ and Yoga, has hosted a 2-hour talk show on a conservative radio station in Dallas. She's also a Fox contributor, usually on the Bill O'Reilly show. I did not know that. One thing I know she doesn't do is act anymore. When you were talking, George says this, when you were talking to the governor of Montana, both of you you were both pretty impressive. I was actually getting an education while laughing.
Thanks.
I like that motto. The Jay Thomas Show, an education while laughing.
Sounds horrible.
Oh, yeah. It's
really
better.
Boring.
If it doesn't fit, shove your thumb deeper up their ass.
It's close.
Bespoke. I listen to the show every day. I do appreciate the differing viewpoints. I am very tired of Mr. Deep Thinker Garrett's worthless and pointless commentary. Beyond being a formulaic viewpoint designed solely to be provocative, his contrarian views are moronic and predictable. And I won't even get into how his flimmy laugh is repulsive. Wow. Wow. Oh, God. Oh, man. That's bad. Oh, no. Okay, stop it. No, that's bad. I can't take it. That's horrible. That's really bad. Oh, God, that sickened me. That really sickened me. All right, Garrett, play a voice box. Give me a voice box right now. Here we go.
This is Lou from Manorville, New York. I was just wondering what you thought of Charlie Sheen's show Anger Management getting picked up for 90 episodes, basically giving him the automatic syndication. I was just wondering what you thought about that. I think that's kind of weird locking him in, but who knows? Good move or bad move?
Okay, here's how it works. Financially, it's fabulous for Charlie Sheen and the other people that are in the show because they're going to get 90 paychecks. What they do is they make this kind of discount deal, and they get 90 paychecks or 100 paychecks. They did 10 shows. They get to own the show, and they get to syndicate it because they know that people will confuse Anger Management with 2.5 Men. And they think that they'll watch it. And they made a deal because Nick does it and Disney does it also. They make a deal for 100 shows. They get the crew and everybody for 75% of union minimum, and over 100 shows they'd have to renegotiate, which they don't do. So it's a financial move. What channel is it? FX?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a financial move. Charlie makes the most money. And, has a fabulous payday. Not like he was making on regular TV. He won't make $1 million an episode, but he might make, I don't know, $30 million or $40 million, something crazy like that. And so for them, they've already figured out that they'll make their money back and they'll have 100 financial. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Jay? Calling from Texas. Hey, what's up with Ira the Weatherman? Is he a real person or somebody does his voice? Because I was on your website, and you have everybody's picture on there. Even that loser, Jeff Furlow, you have his picture on there as a staff member. But there's no Ira. What's going on with that? No picture, nothing. Is he real, or is that stupid-ass guy who does the voices? Truck driver, idiot. All right, Jay. Appreciate it.
Not a Furlot fan.
Take Furlot's picture down, please, Garrett, and replace it with Ira. Okay. And Ira's, and please, and Ira's
Shot
resume. Yeah. Take Furlot. Furlot is nowhere near the talent or has the following that Ira has, and it's an insult to broadcasters and to truck drivers that Jeff Furlot's picture and resume are up there. Okay, it'll be done immediately. Go ahead.
Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. His name is my name too. Whenever we go out, the people always shout, singing John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. La, 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 la.
Yes, if you're loaded sometimes at 3 in the morning, you can give us a call at 347-6-SIRIUS also. And if we're bored enough, we'll play this shit. Go ahead, Garrett. Play another voice box.
Jake Thomas. My man, I hope you're back on the air today. It's Tuesday. It's September 4th, I believe. I want to give a big shout-out to Garrett. Want to give a big shout-out to Gianna. And I want to give that, what's the other broad?
Oh,
Christina?
that's nice. Like that? I believe I was here first. Thank you.
All those guys, you got a lot of talent.
Both of you guys
are a pretty underrated show.
It's a shout out.
I like you guys because you don't take yourself too fucking seriously. You understand what I'm saying to you? You just let it all hang out, and you speak your mind, and you do your thing. You don't give a fuck who's listening. Right. I think it's the greatest fucking, one of the greatest shows in Sirius XM. And maybe one of the best radio shows of our time.
This thing's gotten even better, Garrett.
So
This started slow.
A quarter pint of some Sobesky alcohol, liquor, vodka, the cheap shit. I'm going to take a shot with you right now. I want you to, Jay, I want you to go ahead and grab yourself a nice shot glass, and you take a shot with me when you hear this message. And we'll have a good old time today. I'm looking forward to the show about 3 o'clock. I'm over here in the Eastern Standard Time.
Right.
City in New York.
Yeah.
New York.
I'll keep talking to it even into tomorrow.
Broken Stone.